740. You're home for Kings Talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Yes. On a Monday, Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking up to 2 p.m. Kyle Ledbetter behind the glass for you today, as this is the first full week of the Kings offseason. And I'll be honest, it snuck up on me. And it could have easily ended on Friday as well. I don't know that the Kings would have beat the Grizzlies, and with the Grizzlies losing to the Oklahoma City Thunder by about 80 points, maybe things worked out the way they should have worked out. So we will break all of that down. And the question is, with Scott Perry now in town, what is his priority list? What's the first thing you would do if you were Scott Perry? Would you have a conversation with your boss, Mr. Vivek, and say, hey, I don't know what's true, what's not. Am I going to be able to do my job here? You would hope that maybe those conversations were had prior to. And I would assume that going back to Monty McNair, Monty thought he'd be able to do his job. But things changed once we got into the throes of it, and playoffs weren't made and expectations weren't lived up to. And somebody had to hit the ejecto mission, the ejecto button, and that's exactly what happened. So if I'm Scott Perry, I would say, hey, man, what's the deal here? What are we going to be able to accomplish, and how much freedom am I going to have? Would you be talking to Domantas Sabonis? Would you be eating some Cordy Brothers or Urban Roots? Just grab a nice meal first. So we're going to discuss what Scott Perry's priority list should be. We're also starting our end of season grades. Demar Derozan today. We have Demar Derozan, Zack Lavine, and Keon Ellis. So we're going to break down the core of that rotation and how everybody feels about them. Kyle has also cooked up a one shining moment variation for the Sacramento Kings, about 82 sound bites from the season condensed into a 3-minute montage. I have not heard it. I will be listening to it with all of you.
I'm very proud of myself for this.
I can tell. Kyle walked in to the building with a smile on his face and a song in his heart. So we are excited. That's coming up in about 40 minutes at the bottom of the hour. And we are previewing a new segment. That's right. This segment is called In Style, Out of Style. Of course, it's a play on my last name. And we have an in style and out of style that makes me very uncomfortable. Okay, the in style I'm very comfortable with, and it connects to the Kings with Cooper Flagg. And you're saying there's still a chance the Kings do land Cooper Flagg. It's not a good chance, but hey, somebody's got to win the lottery, no pun intended. And the out of style, which makes me very, very uncomfortable, as I spent my weekend at beautiful Sutter Health Park with the hardest working people in baseball, from the concessions to the field. That game, they played about 20 games on that field already, and you wouldn't know it. They're doing a great job out there. But while I was at Sutter Health Park, I noticed a lot of Dodgers gear, and it made me feel very uncomfortable because of where I landed on all this and helping the game of baseball and Major League Baseball in general. It might take a lot of success from the Los Angeles Dodgers, and I don't like that, but I love baseball so much, I'm willing to allow it. So we're breaking.
No.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry.
No.
So that's coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. But I wanted to start here, as I got to watch a lot of people all over social media bringing up Marvin Bagley and how well he played in a game where they got beat down, by the way. But in a game where the Grizzlies lost badly, but Marvin Bagley played pretty well. And it's turning into this thing where, oh my goodness, the Kings have made all these wrong decisions. It was 132-97. That was that's what they did to the Mavericks, so that would have been bad too. 131-80. 131-80. That's 50 points, 51 to be exact. But Marvin Bagley had a good game, and a lot of it is self-loathing. It's really not from non-Kings fans. I think Kings fans right now are just in a self-loathing mode where nothing can go right. This is the worst time of the season. It seems like everybody else is still playing basketball, and the Kings are done. And it's rough right now. Marvin Bagley played 16 minutes. He was perfect from the field. He had 17 points and 5 rebounds. And everybody's talking about how Marvin Bagley, oh my goodness, look at what Marvin Bagley is doing. Then we got to switch on over to the Heat game with Davon Mitchell. Davon Mitchell doing his thing against Trae Young, who Trae Young might be a Sacramento King come this summer. And Davon Mitchell, just the dog that he is, grabs the offensive rebound in overtime, gets the ball back, makes the three. He's going crazy. The first 10 seed to get into the play-in. And they did their job as far as trying to help the Kings keep their picks. So Davon was trying to help the Kings even 2 teams later. But now I got to look at memes of the three point guards, Tyrese Halliburton, De'Aaron Fox, Davon Mitchell. How did we fumble 3 elite point guards? Come on, man. And I don't want to be disrespectful to Davon Mitchell, but can we relax a little bit? De'Aaron Fox, elite, sure. Tyrese Halliburton, elite, yes. But now we're starting to do the thing where, all right, I think everybody just wants to feel bad for themselves. We're really doing this with Davon Mitchell. And look, it wasn't Davon Mitchell's call that he didn't play enough in Game 7 in 2023. That's not his call. That was on Mike Brown, we think. You never know these days. But after that, we watched Davon Mitchell lose the 6th man position, or I would say the defensive 6th man. It was between him and Malik Monk. But he was the 6th, 7th man while Malik Monk was playing incredible basketball. So we watched Davon Mitchell be the first to get called off the bench in a lot of situations when it was defensive focused, and he had plenty of opportunities out here. And if you look back at that draft, even if you say, well, Monty missed here or there, could have got Alperen Sengun, but that was a couple picks later. You could argue how obvious that draft was not. It was good at the top, and then it got a little squirrely towards the bottom. I have it up right here. It was the beginning is outstanding. Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, Evan Mobley, Scotty Barnes, Jalen Suggs, Josh Giddey, and then you get Jonathan Kaminga. Franz Wagner goes right before Davon. After that, Zaire Williams, James Bouknight, Joshua Primo, Chris Duarte. Maybe you could have went Moses Moody, but what are we actually talking about here? Corey Kispert, and then Alperen Sengun and Trey Murphy, who obviously, and Jalen Johnson as well. Those are great. Alperen Sengun went 16th. Trey Murphy went 17th, and Jalen Johnson went 20th. So a couple teams missed out on those players. It's not as if Sengun went right after Davon or Trey Murphy III went right after Davon, but you can make the argument, and I'd allow it. But now we're doing this thing where Davon Mitchell was an elite point guard when we all watched it. And Davon Mitchell got outplayed by an undrafted two-way guard out of the G League named Keon Ellis. We watched that happen. So I get it. It's tough sledding right now. You have friends, and I know you got friends that are Warriors fans. They're enjoying the heck out of their life right now. So it's just a time where there is some self-loathing. But let's not try to change the past. Let's not change what our memories are telling us, because we watched it. We watched Davon struggle to shoot the basketball. We watched Davon not necessarily be a playmaking point guard. But because there was no playmaking point guard on this team, now that De'Aaron Fox is gone, now we're romanticizing Davon Mitchell. And he's a hell of a ball player. Don't get me wrong. And I would also argue we don't really know what Davon was brought here to do besides essentially what Keon Ellis is doing right now. So I understand that it's tough sledding, but we don't have to do the thing that just makes everybody feel worse. I've been bringing up that movie Good Luck Chuck. If you haven't seen Good Luck Chuck, it's got Dane Cook. It was during Dane Cook in his height.
I've not seen it.
I know you didn't, Kyle. That's why I didn't ask you. Where it turns out that Dane Cook, after somebody dates Dane Cook, they find the love of their life, right? So they date Dane Cook, and all of a sudden they get married. Well, word gets out on the street. So women are lining up to date Dane Cook. It's one of those romance comedies, more comedy than romance. Well, women are lining up to date Dane Cook because they want to find their husband right after that. So it's about Dane Cook trying to find the person that truly loves him.
Oh, 5% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Like I say, what is it? What was that? 09?
07.
Great time for movies. Great time for movies.
Was it?
Yeah. So now we're treating the Kings like they're good luck Chuck, and Carmichael Dave during the crosstalk, he mentioned a couple people, Michael Malone, right, being a part of. He leaves and wins a championship, and then he starts talking about other players, and it starts getting a little squirrely. We could do this with everyone. Look at Ty Jerome. Ty Jerome, when I was covering the Warriors, Ty Jerome was slandered like no other when he was on the Warriors because he was taking time away from the young guys. Ty Jerome is in line. He's going to be he could have been the sixth man of the year if it wasn't for Peyton Pritchard. Ty Jerome is on the best team, getting heavy minutes, making big buckets in the playoffs. Did the Warriors fumble that, or was it not just a fit at the time? So it's already tough enough for Kings fans out there. Don't make it tougher on yourself. These guys, your eyes are not deceiving you. Now, there might have been, obviously, drafting Marvin Bagley was not the right decision, but we're not going to now say, oh, well, we should have kept. Don't do that to yourself. Davon Mitchell, it would have been great to get Alperen Sengun. Would have been great to get Trey Murphy. Those were a couple picks after that, but it would have been awesome. Davon Mitchell gets brought in. It didn't work out. We all watched it not work out. We all know that Davon Mitchell is a dog. We all also said that Davon Mitchell needs consistent playing time. And even though he got opportunities here, when he went to Toronto, we thought, okay, he's going to get to be starting point guard or, get a ton of time. And again, let's remember what teams he's doing this on. If the Kings have dreams of getting the playoff revenue, but also being true contenders, Davon Mitchell is doing this on a Raptors team who was awful and doing this on a Heat team that was a 10 seed. So it's not quite the same. And Marvin Bagley is doing this on a Grizzlies team who is the 8th seed and is about to probably get swept. So we don't have to do this to ourselves. There are enough people that bag on Sacramento and bag on the Kings. Don't do it to yourself. We know what we watched. Davon Mitchell says, trust your work. How about this? If you're a fan, trust your eyes. Trust your memory. We watched it all unfold. And we wish Marvin Bagley the best, and we wish Davon Mitchell the best, but let's not change history. We don't have to do that. On the other side, does the Thunder getting the you-know-what beat out of them the Grizzlies getting the you-know-what beat out of them by the Thunder make you feel better about the Kings missing out on the playoffs? Your calls, your text, 916-339-1140. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Got some texts and calls that we are going to, of course, get to. Does the Thunder beating the blank out of the Grizzlies make you feel better or worse that it was in Sacramento playing in that 8th seed? It depends. I mean, look, there was always a group that wanted the Kings to straight up miss the play-in because that would have given you the best chance to keep your pick. That obviously wasn't possible, right? And the Kings got embarrassed early, but getting embarrassed to the Mavs, I don't know what's worse. At least that was over and done with, and we know that there wasn't much hope as far as the Kings making a deep playoff run anyway. At least, like we said, there's no facade. Now, Monty McNair is out. What I've been told is that this situation had been brewing for a while, and contrary to what I have believed, even if they made it to the playoffs, Monty McNair's time was going to be done. I still feel like we've seen some impulse decisions made before, but that's what I've been told from the powers that be. So because of that, I guess it doesn't really make a difference. My thought process is, hey, just lose so we can all just understand that you're not good enough, right? Because the Grizzlies are not good enough, and they lost by 50, and that is historic. So would you rather that happen or get embarrassed by the Mavs? Now, getting embarrassed by the Mavs was bad, but there were some positive storylines to take on the other side. Clay got his revenge, things like that. So you can say, oh, well, they're the Kings. Clay was due. He had an 0 game. He got his revenge, and we all move on, move forward. You got 3 more games if you're the Grizzlies, and I don't know if it's one. There are those situations where you lose so big, you can flush it, right? You lose by 30, you can flush it. This might be so big of a loss that it actually supersedes that. You lose by 10 or 20, or 10 is a close game at this point, but you lose by 20, hey, we didn't have it. We made some bad decisions. You lose by 30, hey, 30 to 40, hey, they just had our number.
It happens.
Right, we're going to flush and move forward. You lose by 50. I saw somebody say if a team loses by 50, it should count as 2 losses, just so we're not wasting any time. If a team loses by 50, you could just end the series because that would make the blowouts actually more entertaining. Now, I don't know if the Grizzlies will continue. I don't think the Grizzlies will continue to lose by 50 each and every game, but clearly they don't belong on the same court as the Thunder. And honestly, to be fair, I don't know which teams do belong on the same court as the Thunder outside of maybe the Cavs and the Celtics. I don't know which team in the West deserves to be on the same court as the Thunder to start.
Hey, that's what I was trying to tell you guys. The Thunder are real. The reason I would give SGA the MVP at this point is I didn't realize this. In 18 games this year, SGA just straight up didn't play the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Like this is what they do. I'm not saying beat people by 50, but beat people so resoundingly that they sit in the fourth quarter. And they sat with like 5 minutes left in the third quarter. They crushed them. I also love the people who said by transitive defeat, the Kings would have lost that game by 79 based on they lost by 14 to Dallas. Dallas lost by 14 to Memphis. Memphis lost by 51.
I still think that, I don't know, there's still a level of hope that I would believe that the Grizzlies, their fans have. Now, is there any point of having that hope? Maybe not, but if you're the Kings, I'm sure there's still fans out there that, hey, you get a couple home games. You never know what could happen at home. It is a 7-game series, so a lot can change, but either way, that was clearly embarrassing for the Memphis Grizzlies. 916-339-1140. Our friend Pool Guy Mark wants to kick off the calls on this beautiful Monday. What's up, Pool Guy Mark? What you got for us?
Yeah, I'm definitely not upset about Marvin Bagley. Just want to make that clear.
Okay, yes, thank you.
I'm upset we drafted him. I mean, I feel like we're still feeling the repercussions of that draft.
Mm-hmm.
But Davion, he was a piece, though. Like, he was a bench piece. It was just frustrating to just give him away pretty much as a like a money move to maybe get DeRozan eventually, which we're probably looking to move from him now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess the one thing I was kind of calling about was like the ownership. I was hoping like Vivek would kind of take some time to kind of like do a little introspect, some soul searching, to figure out, like, hey, maybe I might be the issue. But it seems like, he had his man already in his pocket before the season was, so he already had his GM while the GM that we, got rid of was still employed. So it just feels like it might be more of the same. And that's the thing that kind of scares me, like hopefully it's just not another yes man. I just wish he would go about his business a little bit more professionally. I would have a little bit more confidence in him, but I don't know. It just kind of leaves a sour taste in my mouth.
There's some great points there, Pool Guy Mark. Great stuff, and I want to get to all of them. Number one, the way I would look at Davon Mitchell is, what does Devin Carter do? To me, the issue with Davon Mitchell was Monty's, I think, Monty's decision to draft Devin Carter. That is what squeezed out Davon Mitchell. You could not have Devin Carter, even if he couldn't even play to start the season, but you could not have Devin Carter, Davon Mitchell, Keon Ellis, Malik Monk, and De'Aaron Fox. That couldn't happen. And at that time, you still had Colby Jones, by the way. That couldn't happen. So to me, I look at Davon Mitchell and I think, as long as Devin Carter is, and look, this isn't if Devin Carter is better or ends up being better than Davon Mitchell, I'm okay with that, because that's really what it is. Davon, if they draft Dalton Connect, if they draft some of the guys that we thought they would that were above 6'5", then Davon can stay on the team. But once you drafted Devin Carter, we knew that his time was ticking. So it was Keon Ellis who kind of leapfrogged him. Then on top of that, you draft another guard. The writing was on the wall. Very similar. We're going to get into the NFL here soon with the draft this week. You draft Ricky Pearsall, Brandon Ayuk or Debo, somebody was gone, and it ended up being Debo. The writing was on the wall. So I look at Davon and I say, well, if Devin Carter is better, then that's a situation there. As far as ownership is concerned, and we're getting some texts about ownership as well, and those decisions that were made, the problem is, let's be real about this, right? I just saw there was somebody, especially in my industry, I'm me. I'm trying to work my butt off, get where I want to go, right? Whether it's the media industry, whether it's whatever industry that you're in, sometimes you see job openings, sometimes you don't, right? And you'll hear somebody announce that they got a job, and you're thinking, I've been on, where was this job opening? And the whole thing gets real sticky. Hey, do you legally have to open the job or do you not have to? Sometimes, hey, we got to interview everyone, but sometimes you see somebody get a job and there were no interviews. What the hell are the rules, right? So some people skirt those rules, but they do it in a way that is at least a little, for lack of a better term, sneaky, or they hide it better. When you fire your GM and then hire a new GM within a span of 24 hours, you're not even hiding it. So to Pool Guy Mark's point, why isn't anybody in his ear saying, you at least have to play this differently? The one thing that's funny about moving on from De'Aaron Fox and Vivek is when it comes to just doing what is most people expect you to do, or saying, just say the thing, just say the normal athlete thing, just do the normal owner thing. They refuse. So they kind of were a match made in heaven. They want to do what they want to do, and they don't give a you-know-what about the repercussions. So why isn't there somebody in his ear to say, hey, probably wouldn't look great if we hire someone within, I don't know, what was that, 13 hours of firing Monty McNair? Let's just announce it 2 days from now. Let's just announce it on what? They could have did it on Friday with the news dump. Let's just do it on Monday. Let's just do it on Tuesday. He ain't going nowhere. Why show everyone your cards? Why do that? So it's not even to me, because that probably happens all the time. The Atlanta Hawks fired their GM today and already promoted someone from within. So they probably knew that was going to happen.
Just 3 days before, the Pelicans fired David Griffin and Joe Dumars was named the new hire almost immediately.
So that's kind of typical, but it's just too many things happening, right? And it gets viewed differently. And I would say the Atlanta Hawks, I was talking to Kyle about this, they're a Jalen Johnson away and a Dyson Daniels away from being considered dysfunctional. They really are. They just have a couple young studs, so we don't look at them the same way. But they're going to have to make a decision with Trae Young. So it's not that the Atlanta Hawks are necessarily viewed better than the Kings. But it's just a matter of you're not even hiding it, right? The due process. I don't know how often there actually is a due process. But when you do something so quickly, now, okay, well, clearly this had been in the works for a while, and we all see that. That's the issue. That's the issue. On the other side, we got more texts, more calls to get to. Also, playoff playback. Davion ends Trae Young's season. Now, is this the reverse? Good luck, Chuck. Now does Trae Young go to the Kings to avenge that? Let's talk about it. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Breaking: the Sacramento Kings and Scott Perry have finalized a deal for him to become the next GM of the Kings. Keep it here for up-to-date breaking Sacramento Kings news. Sacktown Sports 1140.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your boat, boat wins.
What are you going to do? Take the boat out for a spin or go mail something? Boat wins! Are we cleaning the patio or taking the boat out fishing? Boat wins! Are we skipping that eye exam to go sailing? Boat wins!
Rescheduling eye exams can be a nightmare.
All right, fine. Eye exam, then boat. Yeah!
With Progressive, you can bundle your boat with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings on your boat. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
Listen up, Gen Xers. Elizabeth Banks here. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the way. We've done this before. Music videos, fanny packs, even the World Wide Web. So let's do it again and get vaccinated. We're at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults under 50. Gen X, this is our shot. Visit vaxassist.com to schedule. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Advanced Infusion Center, where we prioritize your comfort and well-being. Whether you're managing a chronic condition or seeking specialized IV therapy, our state-of-the-art center offers tailored solutions to meet your needs. Advanced Infusion Center's dedicated healthcare professionals are here to ensure your safety and provide personalized care. Conveniently located in Sacramento and Yuba City with flexible scheduling options. Experience a new standard in infusion therapy. Visit Advanced Infusion Center today at advancedinfusion.com.
Spring is here, and that means gigantic savings for all your oil change needs at Jiffy Lube today. Get a $25 gift card with the purchase of any Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change through May 31st at your local Jiffy Lube service center in the greater Sacramento areas. And don't forget about the additional $30 off online coupon at jiffylube.com. Terms apply. Valid email address required. See pennzoil.com/rewards for details. Jiffy Lube, huge spring savings for you today. What's up? We're talking to Chad Hobblet, a Hobblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram and Woodland Ram Truck Month. It's back. Chad, tell me about the deals happening at Hobblet.
Only Hobblet can get you a deal this good on the best selection of new Ram trucks. Right now, save up to $15,000 off MSRP on the new 2025 Ram 1500 Tradesman Sports. And with 500 new Ram trucks available, your perfect Ram is waiting for you at the Hobblet Ram Truck Center.
And aren't you the #1 Ram truck dealer in California?
Yeah, we consistently rank #1 in California thanks to our unique selection of Ram trucks. Plus, people love our new certified pre-owned supercenter with over 200 vehicles available and over 50 under $20,000.
There's only one thing to do. Search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hobblet, period.
15,000 total net savings after 10,000 factory rebates and 5,000 dealer discounts. Rebates include 8,000 West and National Consumer Cash, 1,500 Conquest dealer cash. Must own or lease Ford, Chevy, or GMC brand vehicle. 500 on-the-job upfit. Must show proof of $500 eligible upfit. 5,000 net savings. Sample VIN 616-182. See dealer for details.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
For beginning golfers, not getting into bad habits gives you a much better chance of enjoying the game and shooting lower scores. John Howells in Golf Monthly says these mistakes should be avoided. First, know your club distances. Take your yardages not from your best or worst shot, but somewhere in the middle. And no dancing allowed. Swaying in the backswing is a common fault, which forces you to compensate in the downswing. Mastering impact. Trust the loft on the club face and don't try to lift the ball. Club face control. For right-handers, take care to set the perfect grip with 2 V's between thumb and forefinger pointing to your right shoulder. Bunker shots. Many struggle here because they fail to open the club face before hitting the shot. Turn the club before you take your grip. And finally, learn how to read greens and hole more putts. Even on a miss, putts that miss above the hole offer more chance of holding the putt. Now go out and have some fun. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Seth Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is. Live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Seth Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sepp's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Aggie fans, UC Davis football is hosting their spring game this Saturday, April 26th at 4 o'clock at UC Davis Health Stadium. Free admission for all fans, so arrive early. The doors open at 3. You can enjoy a live DJ, band, and spirit performances and enjoy this community event. All kids under 12 are invited to join the team for a pregame runout and postgame drills event. Fans of all ages are invited to a meet and greet and autograph session following the conclusion of the game. For more info, visit ucdavisaggies.com. Go Axe.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140.
on Sacktown Sports.
"916 says, I like Carter better than Davion, but you basically got absolutely nothing in return." Well, I think the question is yet, right? You haven't got anything yet.
I think he's saying the Davion trade.
Right. Yes, but that was the weird Jalen. That might have been the type of stuff that, maybe at that point, Monty had kind of dug his own grave a little bit.
Well, it's worse than nothing. It's that they actually had to give up things to move Davion, right? The trade was, if I remember, Davion, Sasha Vezenkov, and a second-round pick for McDaniels, and then they flipped McDaniels for another second to get him off the roster. So it was essentially a salary dump and a costly salary dump in the sense of those were the last second-round picks that were available to be traded potentially at the deadline this year.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a manipulation sensation that we thought was going to end in, because I remember it was, he's working on something. This is deal one, or this is part one to a two-part or three-part situation. And then, if I'm not mistaken, Kyle, there were no other parts. The part was the dump, right? It was, they're flipping it to do something, and
it did clear the cap space that ultimately allowed them to acquire DeRozan.
Yeah.
But they could have made that work without dumping it, because as we saw, Sasha Vezenkov just walked away from his contract.
Yeah, he ran from the grind.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
Shout out to
MVP.
the lefty.
It's the MVP.
Yes.
Yes. I would say, wouldn't you rather go be an MVP in Greece than be what he was with the Kings?
Sure, but that's still running from the grind.
Mr. Vezenkov.
I just look at that like they didn't time it out great. It was like they drafted Devin Carter, so at that point they had to move Davon Mitchell. If I remember correctly, too, I think the Davion trade was like the day after the draft, too. Mm-hmm. So I think they made that move not knowing who they were going to get. They didn't know they were going to get Demar Derozan when they traded Davon Mitchell. And so I think that was the miscalculation, was it did clear cap space for someone, but they didn't know they would have to then trade Harrison Barnes and Duarte and a pick swap again to net DeMar DeRozan. I think that the timing was kind of more the mistake than anything else.
Yeah, looking here as we do a bit of a playoff rewind, the Pacers take care of business against the Bucks. And look, man, that's gonna be real spicy. You see Damian Lillard, and this has been brewing since last year, where Tyrese Halliburton did Dame's famous Dame time celebration. So it sounds like Dame is going to be ready for game 2, and he said, I'm coming, or something like that. He was, again, going back and forth with Tyrese Halliburton, which I love, because now I need to watch that next game. So
this is my favorite update now. It is officially 1,075 days since the last time Giannis Antetokounmpo won an NBA playoff game. That was, I believe, May 11th, 2022 was the last time Giannis won a playoff game.
So, yeah, it is going to be very, I would say, exciting as far as the Pacers taking on the Bucks now that you add Dame back in there. And by the way, Kyle Kuzma, Tony Snell can finally rest. Kyle Kuzma played enough time that when he recorded 0 in every statistical category, it was duly noted. And Tony Snell can now rest in his career as Kyle Kuzma has been a complete nightmare on the Bucks.
Yes, we had that fun. Remember the best contracts and worst contracts in the league? Kyle Kuzma was a negative contract this season, which is crazy. Also, I love Worldwide WAP did the calculation. It's like technically Brent Barry had a game like that where he played 13 more seconds. So if not for that, Kyle Kuzma put up literally the worst game in NBA playoff history.
The Pistons were in control, and then the Knicks did that thing that they do in Madison Square Garden, and they got hot, and that's just how it goes. I wouldn't say the Pistons tricked it off. I think they had an opportunity, and they weren't able to take advantage of it. I think the Knicks are the Knicks, especially at home, and the Pistons' first playoff game in a very long time. So that's to be expected. On the other hand, the Clippers and Nuggets, the Clippers tricked that game off.
Yeah.
The Clippers had a huge opportunity to really just put the nail in the coffin for the Nuggets, a team that has a new head coach or an interim head coach. And, you know, even with that home court advantage and the altitude, the Clippers were rocking and rolling, and then they simply got cold. And they really could have rode that momentum and just kind of beat down on the Nuggets. And now the Nuggets have life.
One of the craziest stats I saw was they were like, in the Jokic, Jamal Murray era, the Nuggets have 8 15-point comebacks in the second half of the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That is crazy. Timberwolves and the Lakers. Look, a lot of people were high on the Lakers, but, you know, a lot of us also thought this team has flaws, right? This team has flaws as far as their roster construction. I'm big on Rui Hachimura, but he has moments where he's just invisible, right? And I would take him on the Kings probably in a heartbeat, but, you know, he's one of those pieces where you play 30 minutes, 9 points, 2 assists, 5 rebounds, and then Jackson Hayes only plays 8 minutes. You have Luka, who drops 37 in 40 minutes. LeBron, 19 points in 36 minutes. He didn't have a great game. And you look at the rest of their roster. Austin Reeves has 16 points. That's not bad, but there's so much on LeBron, Reeves, and Luka that you start looking around the rest of this lineup. And like I said, Rui, Jackson Hayes, Dorian Finney-Smith, Gabe Vincent. I mean, just terrible, terrible numbers. Gabe Vincent continues to be one of the biggest letdowns as far as acquisitions that teams made in these off seasons. So the Lakers are kind of soul searching here as the Timberwolves seal one. And I don't want to do the thing. See, I'm doing the thing where it's all about the Lakers, where I should be giving credit to the Timberwolves.
Ow, ow, ow.
Julius Randle, 16 points. Jaden McDaniels, a team high with 25 points. That's the one where if you're the Lakers, you're saying we'll live with that. But Jaden McDaniels is a guy that a lot of people are high on. Anthony Edwards, 22. Mike Conley had 9, 3, and 3. Rudy Gobert, kind of brutal game from Rudy Gobert. And Naz Reid had 23. So you win a game where Anthony Edwards didn't score the most points, didn't score the second most points, and you're able to win that ball game.
He also left with a cramp for like 7 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the Timberwolves, you're thinking, hey, we feel pretty good about where we're at. And the Lakers, like we said, that run and gun type of offense and Luka throwing full court passes, that stuff doesn't necessarily fly in the playoffs. It's fun in the regular season, but how does that translate? We're not quite sure yet, and it just didn't translate. The Magic were a bit more competitive than I thought they would be, and then the Celtics said, okay, let's turn it on. That was more of the Celtics just getting into their kind of playoff rhythm.
Pistons, Knicks, and Magic Celtics have very similar energy. It's like, oh, that's cute. You guys are hanging around.
I think the Pistons will make a series out of it more so than the Magic.
I disagree.
The Magic just don't have enough offense. Grizzlies, Thunder, we already talked about that beat down. Heat Cavaliers, kind of the same thing where the Heat, are they going to? Oh, yeah. No, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
You went to the bathroom, you came back, and the Cavs are now up 20. But
right. That's still the team that blew a 15-point lead against the Hawks.
Yeah, the Heat did show some want to. They just didn't. They weren't able to get it done. And last but not least, it was a grinder of a game, 95-85. The Warriors get it done, and the Rockets are just so bad offensively. It is impressive. It is impressive how bad the Rockets are offensively. And Amen Thompson, I mean, I kind of fell for it too. If there was a prop talk, I probably would have taken the under on Steph. It was set at 25.5, and I would have been wrong, man. Steph Curry, I saw one Rockets fan say, Steph Curry is the Rockets' daddy. That's just what it is. And look, Amen Thompson is a heck of a player. They switched a lot more than I thought they would. You saw Tari Eason and Jabari Smith guarding Steph. If you're Amen Thompson, and to be fair, maybe we gassed up Amen Thompson a little bit. A lot of Warriors fans were saying, all right, come on now. Y'all are making Amen Thompson sound like he's the glove. Gary Payton, just this all-world defender, and he'll get there. But I think Steph Curry heard that noise and thought, okay, I got to do this. It's been Jared Vanderbilt, right? How many Steph stoppers have there been? And Amen Thompson. Normally with the Steph stopper, they actually, what was it back in the day? He was on the Cavs and he was on the Kings as well.
Yeah.
From Australia.
Delhi
was the Steph stopper.
Oh, Delhi. I miss him so much.
Normally, they actually stop Steph for a game, and before we dub them a Steph stopper, we had to look back to when the Rockets lost or when the Rockets beat the Warriors, and we were pulling up the regular season stats. Come on now. This ain't the regular season. So, Amen Thompson, not a Steph stopper so far. The Warriors, like I said, if they're going to win the series, they got to steal one in Houston, and they do just that. On the other side, Kyle's one shining moment from the 2024-2025 Sacramento Kings season. 82 sound bites from the season condensed into one 3-minute montage. Kyle's been talking this thing up, so you're not going to want to miss it, and I want to hear it too. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check you have your phone first, before the cab pulls away.
Hey, thanks, man. No, wait, my phone, come back. It's my boarding pass, credit cards, phone numbers, my life, come back.
Checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Comcast Business, powering possibilities. With a little historical perspective on Jacob Wilson's 15-game hitting streak to begin the season, which ended on the 13th against the Mets. In the expansion era, the only longer streak by an Athletic to start a season, San Javier hit in 17 straight in 1994. The Athletics record, Hank Majeski, 19 straight in 49.
Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business with reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup. Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. For details on special offers, including free professional installation and up to a $500 Visa prepaid card on qualifying internet bundles, log on to business.comcast.com. Comcast Business, powering possibility.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Mother's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for moms and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
What up, fellow Gen Xers? Elizabeth Banks here. As the original Latchkey kids, we took things into our own hands, like house keys and video game controllers. And now it's time for us to do it again, because the recommended age to get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. We're at over 6 times greater risk compared to adults under 50. So go to vaxassist.com and schedule. Gen X, this is our shot. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Diamond Pacific Supply and Trex, Michelob Ultra, and Carl's Jr. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
And now a brief history of the garage door. Garage doors could date back to 450 BC when chariots were stored in gatehouses. Here in the States, they became a thing around the start of the 20th century. You could find a float-over door in a catalog way back in 1906. National Garage Door has been around since 1974. They're family-owned and operated, so you can trust them to solve any garage door issues you may have. Squeaky door, malfunctioning door, or a need for a new door, which is what prompted us to give them a call, 916-638-4554. At National Garage Door, service is their number one priority. I've witnessed that commitment in my own home, certainly in our garage. National Garage Door sells quality Rainer-branded garage doors. They are the nation's BSE broken spring experts. So if you have a garage door that looks and sounds like it dates back to 450 BC, National Garage Door can help, whether it's a garage door tune-up, repair, or replacement you need. They'll take care of you at National Garage Door. 916-638-4554. That's 916-638-4554. National Garage Door.
Live and local.
It's Allen Stiles
on Sacktown Sports.
It is time. Kyle, are you sticking with the name Kyle's one shining moment?
No, it's just one shining moment for the Kings.
Okay. So Kyle cooked this up. DJ LED?
DJ LED, yes.
And the last time we did this, rave reviews from the listeners. Kyle kind of mixed up last season, and a lot of people enjoyed it, and we're back at it again. People wanted Kyle to release the album. When is the album dropping? The two albums that everybody's waiting for is Rihanna and DJ LED. We've been waiting for Rihanna's album, whether or not she's ever going to do music again at a high level, for about a decade, I think, for Rihanna, pretty close to that. And Kyle Ledbetter, we're at 2 years now to drop the album, and people were DMing us asking, Kyle, how can I get this mix? Okay, we're working on some things. Kyle is too young to remember LimeWire, but LimeWire is how we used to get down back in the day. Also, Hot New Hip Hop is where I would get a lot of stuff as well.
Is LimeWire the illegal one?
Yes, Napster.
Okay, those were the illegal streams?
Yes,
okay.
LimeWire, Napster. This is where you can possibly find this mix that Kyle is about to drop. Kyle Ledbetter's one shining moment for the 2024-2025 Sacramento Kings. 82 sound bites from the season condensed into a 3-minute montage. He worked his buns off on this, and we are excited to hear it.
Well, I do have to say, so one, this is obviously pre-recorded, so I can't change it once it's done. And two, if you're on YouTube, you're not going to be able to hear the music, because I use One Shining Moment, Luther Vandross, so you'll be able to hear the sounds, but you probably won't be able to hear the music. So if you're on YouTube, switch over to the app.
There you go. And you got about 2 seconds to do it, because we're doing it right now, Kyle.
The debut of One Shining Moment for the 2024-2025 Sacramento Kings.
An absolute pleasure for a 40th time to welcome you to opening night for the Sacramento Kings in their 40th year.
I'm a pizza guy. I really just be chilling for real. He lost a lot of pounds. He was fat.
Demar Derozan's a new member of the Kings.
Everybody wants you like I want you to do, and nothing like us.
Tipped in by Sabonis. Heel of the rim, no good. Scramble, rebound, Sabonis. Put back, score it. 7/10 of a second.
Possession after possession after possession.
McDermott for 3. 6 for 6 in the fourth quarter.
The new City Edition mascot, Royale.
For the jerseys, we got a new mascot.
Aaron's down to 4. Fires for 3. He's got a 60-point ball game. It's the most points any player has scored this season in the NBA. Ball stripped out of his hands by Dyson Daniels. DeRozan, he mishandles the ball. It's good by Ivy, and he was fouled. This is unbelievable.
Mike Brown on their way to the team plane in Sacramento. Fired the interim head coach. Going to be Doug Christie.
No class, no balls.
A 7-game winning streak. It's the first time since 2022. Devin Carter headed to the scorer's table.
God blessing me with his body. It's not fit. All right, gotta go.
My swerve in that corner.
He just hit an 85-footer.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's not going to make anybody feel better, so.
De'Aaron Fox to San Antonio.
We don't care about bitter people.
The Kings are going to get Zach Lavine.
Also, in a round shot. It's a butter situation. I'll make the shot.
Lavine buries his 7th three-pointer of the night. The Kings have a 17-point lead. Timeout, San Antonio. Lavine, heat check. Oh my! 39 season-high points. Debo, up fake, splits defenders, step through, scores the basket. Kings lead it, 129-128. The improbable over the Cavaliers. It bounces twice and falls in, and the Clippers win at the buzzer. J.T. Thor clinched the home court advantage going against Dallas. Devin Carter from the corner for 3. He's got the triple. Kings take the lead at 25-23. Jason Kidd calls timeout. Klay Thompson is on fire for the Dallas Mavericks.
For that bum Klay Thompson.
The final seconds of this season tick away. The Sacramento Kings end up losing it by 14, 120-106.
One shining moment.
Gotta go.
Wow. Nicely done, Kyle. Nicely done. While I'm listening to that stuff, I mean, so much has happened. I honestly forgot possession after possession. I looked up at you. I forgot that was this season.
There were so many things. Some things got cut out of this. Like, there was just so much that happened. And for weeks, I was just compiling moments, sounds like what happened during this season. It just didn't feel real. And so, there were things that hit the cutting floor. But if math is correct, I believe that's 82 sounds of the Sacramento Kings season condensed into 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to choose, like, okay, why did Mike get fired? I chose Dyson Daniels. I chose DeRozan bobbling. I chose Jaden Ivey. There were games that I just couldn't believe they got cut. The Miami double overtime game, the Pacers blowout. There was just so many moments this year that it was almost disorienting.
Well, and you were pretty nice to the Kings, right? It was because somebody just texted in literally what I was going to say. Awesome montage, but man, that made me more depressed than anything. What an absolutely brutal season to be a Kings fan. Yeah, throughout the season or throughout the montage, it just gets sadder and sadder and sadder. And G-Man is just trying, and the excitement is there, but it's for the other team. Jaden Ivey, this is unbelievable. And they move on from Mike Brown. It was a great montage, but yeah. And like I said, you were probably nicer to the Kings than you probably should have been.
For sure. I mean, I wanted to include so much more De'Aaron Fox stuff.
Yeah.
Because, I would say 5 of the 10 best moments of the season were involving De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
and there's only but so much De'Aaron Fox I could get in because he was only on the team for half the season. So I only had a minute and 30 seconds to get De'Aaron Fox in there.
Yeah.
I couldn't even get Trey Lyles' movement in there.
No, Trey Lyles movement, that was at the beginning, and DeMar DeRozan,
Trey Lyles movement,
all of that stuff as well. So great stuff from Kyle. If you missed it, we'll play it again in the 1 o'clock hour. On the other side, Scott Perry's priority list. If you were Scott Perry, what's the first thing you would do? Would you go get some food from the farm to fork capital of the world? Would you sit down and have a conversation with Mr. Vivek, your new boss? Would you just say, you know what, I'm going to call Domantas Sabonis right now? What's the first thing you would do when the wheels touch down in Sacramento? You're the new Kings GM. 11 o'clock hour coming up next down south, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
What sets Ashton & Price apart from other injury law firms? I'll tell you. From beginning to end, all important legal decisions are made directly between our clients and their experienced local attorney. A gate agent flying the plane, the receptionist performing surgery, not a chance. There's simply no substitute for the unique power of the direct attorney-client relationship offered by Ashton & Price. And there's never a fee until we win, and between you and me, we win a lot.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
It's the final days of the spring sales event. Drive home your new Honda before the deals and the new Hondas disappear. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at folsomlakehonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our number one priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers, plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us, plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
It's Carmichael Dave talking to you about my good friends at American Energy. You're in the Sacramento area. You know how the seasons work. They are a-changing right now. So American Energy wants to help you stay warm for the rest of the cold season, but help you stay cool during the warm season. Best way to do that, make sure your system is operating safely. So right now is the time to take advantage of half off a tune-up, $24.50. They cut that right in half, and if you want a diagnostic, guess what? You can't beat free. If it's free, it's me, and now it can be you. And also, it's the end of the season blowout. $4,000 off a new system plus any rebates. That $4,000, that's a direct drop from the sticker price. It's a great deal. Check them out at theaeway.com for an instant quote or give them a call at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Tell them your good buddy Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Is your concrete sinking? Whether it's your driveway, sidewalk, or patio, those uneven surfaces are not just ugly, they're dangerous. That's where Groundworks comes in. They use state-of-the-art concrete lifting solutions to prevent tripping hazards, and they're the best at what they do. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Are you tired of your tee shots ending up in the adjoining fairway while the rest of your foursome is hitting it down the middle? Well, experts will tell you that being properly fitted for golf clubs will help you strike your drive center cut. The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio and its team of trained PGA professionals are ready to help you get rid of your banana balls and duck hooks. Hagen Oaks Indoor-Outdoor Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Aggie fans, UC Davis football is hosting their spring game this Saturday, April 26th at 4 o'clock at UC Davis Health Stadium. Free admission for all fans, so arrive early. The doors open at 3. You can enjoy a live DJ, band, and spirit performances and enjoy this community event. All kids under 12 are invited to join the team for a pregame runout and postgame drills event. Fans of all ages are invited to a meet and greet and autograph session following the conclusion of the game. For more info, visit ucdavisaggies.com. Go Axe.
Maida Chevy saves you $8,000 off MSRP on new 2025 half-ton Silverado LT and RST after rebates.
Year-end savings on now with $8,000 off new Silverados at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
See dealer for details.
Your local sports leader in the 916.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento. KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios. Sacktown Sports 1140. Your home for Kings Talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
11 o'clock hour, taking you up to 2 p.m. on a beautiful Monday. Hope your Monday is moving along quickly. Hope you had a nice Easter. Was running around, like I said. Wifey and baby Stiles had been gone for a bit. They are back in town. They got back yesterday, so we went pretty low key for dinner, but nice to have them back. And I was working River Cats, so there was a lot of running around, but nice to have the gang all back together. Hope you enjoyed your weekend as well. If you were traveling, quick and safe travels. And we're back to work now. We're back to work now. We're going to help you get you through it. And speaking about work, Demar Derozan had some trouble while he was not at work. He was just trying to enjoy some time off. And he's at a sushi restaurant. Some clout chaser dude comes up to him with the phone in his face while he's videoing the whole thing. Demar did what he had to do, and he will be treated like a human. You know, and the guy clearly, I mean, that's the sad thing about what's going on these days. To be honest with you, you got decisions to make, right? And when I saw it, I was about to clock in for River Cats, and truthfully, you know, you see it. I saw it pretty early. I thought about posting it and really didn't want to give that guy any clicks, so I didn't. Come back a couple hours later, it blew up. It's all over social media, and it's tough, man, you know, to be in these type of positions. You want to make sure that you're getting information out there, but you also don't want to give these people what they want. So I chose not to, and a lot of people did kind of, you know, like I said, you have to also say what happened. So it's kind of a sticky situation that these people put you in. And Demar Derozan did what he had to do, and this guy had the whole thing on video, and it was pretty embarrassing for him. But this is what he wanted, you know. And you're my favorite player, and all this. I don't know if we're struggling with home training these days, or if the obsession with clicks and clout chasing, which leads to money, whether it be a lawsuit or just the fact that you're being talked about on TMZ. I don't know if this has rotted adult brains, but if somebody were my favorite player, let's say, you know, I ran into Ken Griffey Jr. or I see Ken Griffey Jr. at a sushi restaurant, the first thing I'm not doing is not even saying hello, right? If you watch the video from the guy's POV, he doesn't even say hello. He just rolls up, and you can see the phone is just on the table in Demar's face. So I think the whole thing was a sham. I think that the guy was trying to get exactly what he got, and to get some 15 minutes of fame. So I don't really want to spend that much time on it. But if you didn't see the situation, there is a video floating around of Demar basically handling his business, saying, "Hey, man, this is not cool." And the guy's just kind of yelling and screaming, "You're my favorite player." And, you know, nothing has come out as far as what the guy's intentions were, other than him immediately posting it from his phone saying, never meet your friends. From what I saw, there was a hashtag Drake. I mean, it was disgusting. It was completely disgusting and embarrassing. So that's all I want to say on it. The guy is a joke, and you ask for things, you just might get them. And I hope that he doesn't get exactly what he wants in the form of anything money-wise, but it was embarrassing. And I'm really kind of sick to my stomach that these people out here are just obsessed over any type of fame that they can get. And look, we've gone back and forth on kind of the Westbrook stuff and don't disrespect my name. And Kyle and I have maybe disagreed on booing and things like that. On the court stuff, we can have disagreements. You call him Westbrook, he thinks that's disrespectful. I think it's funny. We can go back and forth. A dude that's just eating dinner and trying to enjoy a night out, that I think we can all be, well, I guess not all of us, because that idiot was the one who did it, but I feel like 97% of us can agree that that's the type of stuff where just leave them be here. And if you're not going to leave them be, you say, hey, can I take a picture? They don't want to take a picture. You don't just roll up on someone with the phone in their face and then try to react and try to flip it on them. So embarrassing stuff. People got to be better, but I don't know how much I expect that to happen, especially nowadays where this streaming situation is just completely out of control. That's my soapbox on it. And we can continue on now to Scott Perry's priority list. What's the first thing you're doing when you land in Sacramento? And we're still waiting, by the way, for confirmation about that press conference. I know word on the street, I was just talking to Brendan Nunez, word on the street is that it's tomorrow. The Kings have not announced that it's tomorrow, and I would hope that they would announce it pretty soon that it's tomorrow. So once we know that, we will react accordingly, assuming that it's during our show, and do the best we can to get that for you here on the home of the Sacramento Kings, the flagship station. What's the first thing you're doing when you land in Sacramento? You're talking to Vivek, you're talking to Sabonis, or you're getting some good food. I had Cordy Brothers this weekend for the first time. Very good. Very good. I've been wanting to go there for a while. Finally got over there before the River Cats game. I got the spicy Molinari, and it had pepperoni. Okay, it had salami. It had some great stuff there, Kyle. So if you hadn't gotten a sandwich from there yet, a cold cut sandwich.
I have not. Cannot say I have.
It was popping in there, though, by the way. It was a little frantic for me, but I ordered ahead, grabbed it, got out of Dodge.
You said this was Saturday?
This was Saturday.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, that makes a little more sense.
That's right.
Everyone's buying food because they're cooking the next day.
Yeah.
I understand that, but I'll keep that in my back pocket next time I'm out there.
Is Scott Perry going to Cordy Brothers? Is he going to Urban Roots? I've been to Urban Roots way too often. So if I were Scott Perry, this is what I'm doing. I touch down. I go to Urban Roots. Okay. I get my brisket. I get my fries. All right. I get my mac, some of the best mac I've had in Sacramento. So that'll just level me out a bit. After that, I might ask Vivek, do you want to have Urban Roots with me? Okay. We eat some food. We're all on the same page. We have a good energy going about us. And then I say, look, man, I've had a lot of I've seen a lot of conversations. I saw the Athletic article. Can you bring some light into this? What happened with Monty McNair? At what point did you maybe lose faith in Monty? And what can I do to make sure that doesn't happen with me? After you get that answer, my next call is to Domantas Sabonis. And I would say, look, man, we've moved on from De'Aaron Fox. You are the leader of this team. I know a lot of people have said Malik Monk too. You are the leader of this team. You were very vocal during your exit presser that you want to be a part of these conversations, okay? I can't promise you that you will get everything you want. I can't promise you that we'll always agree, but give me a high level, and I might invite him to Urban Roots too. So Vivek is gone now, and now Sabonis comes because I need seconds.
Damn, you're going to make him drive an hour and a half?
Sorry. That's right.
He's out in Napa right now. You're going to make him drive all the way back?
Sorry. You'll figure it out. You'll be all right. Take a helicopter. And you sit down, you say, hey, man, what is it exactly high level that you want to see? Is Doug I know Doug worked with you. The relationship may be a little bit different now because Doug is the head coach, but is that where you want to go with this? What do you think, right? I can't promise you everything, but it's the same thing I do with our boss here, right? I say, hey, I'd like to see such and such, might not always get it, but I've at least told him what I want. So those are the first things that I'm doing. I'm eating some barbecue from Urban Roots. I'm inviting Vivek to have lunch. I'm inviting Domantas Sabonis while I eat my dessert /seconds. And we're all getting on. There's separate meetings, by the way, not all three of us, separate meetings. And then we rock and roll, and Kyle, that's pretty much it.
Where does Doug fit into this whole equation? Because I guess that's part of the Vivek conversation is like, I assume they've already hashed out whether it has to be Doug or whether there's going to be an open coaching search, right?
That's kind of where I'm at, because that is part of the Vivek conversation and to a lesser degree, the Domantas Sabonis conversation. If Vivek says, hey, I like Doug, everybody likes Doug, he's a Sacramento Kings guy.
I wanted Doug to be the interim coach.
I've been wanting Doug. Monetarily, it also helps as well. Our best player also likes Doug in Domantas Sabonis. So I don't know how willing. I'm just honestly, Doug isn't on my list because I'm assuming that Vivek in that conversation said we're going with Doug. Unless a random Taylor Jenkins or somebody else decides that they're interested in Sacramento.
I just assumed one way or another they've already made that call, not on who the coach is going to be, but whether it's going to be Doug or open coaching search.
Yeah.
And what open coaching search comes back, I don't know. But I guess that just comes down to, is Scott Perry making the decision or is Vivek making the decision on who the coach is going to be?
And again, since we know that this has gone on for, at least a couple weeks here with Scott Perry and the ownership group, then I would say I would assume that the Doug thing is already kind of decided, but I guess obviously we don't know that for sure. But it's not number one on my list because I'm assuming that Doug is already the guy.
I assume that they've already decided, so I guess then it's good to talk to Sabonis, but I guess they're like, it's hard because that would mean they're like 2 steps ahead of us trying to say, well, what's the first thing you would do? I think the first thing they have to sort out is who's going to be the head coach.
Yeah. Well, and that all comes out in that conversation. I'm just assuming that they're moving forward with Doug. But maybe like I said, it could be, hey, we're rolling with Doug unless we get word that somebody with more experience, like I said, if Taylor Jenkins, because I'm only saying, or Nick Nurse, I would say as well.
Looks like he's sticking around.
Yeah. So I'm not taking Mike Budenholzer over Doug. I'm not doing it personally.
That's a man with a championship.
That ring is looking a little dusty.
I would agree.
It's looking a little Giannis-y more than anything else. And there's no Giannis on the Sacramento Kings. So
well, not yet. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, not at least not yet. So that's what I'm doing. I'm getting some good food in me. I'm talking to Vivek, and then I am talking to the leader of the team now, Domantas Sabonis, because that's what he said he wanted. So 916-339-1140. What would you do if you were Scott Perry? What would be on your priority list? We continue the conversation, and we are going to get to some postseason grades. Who gets an A? Who gets a B? Who gets a D? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Breaking: the Sacramento Kings and Scott Perry are finalizing a deal for him to become the next GM of the Kings. Keep it here for up-to-date breaking Sacramento Kings news. Sacktown Sports 1140.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. You get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
We want to get to this sound. Nico Harrison is having his end of season presser, and Sacramento media, a lot of people like to bag on Sacramento media. You're not tough enough on the powers that be, and there's a question asked here that I got to give the reporter credit. I think that somebody from Sacramento media probably would have asked Monty McNair this, maybe in a nicer way, but we didn't get the chance because Monty got fired right after the season, right? So literally right after. I mean, there was still they were still cleaning Golden One when Monty McNair
reporters
got fired.
were still in the locker room when they fired him.
Again, it was clearly something that was already going to happen. Real quick, confirming with Brendan Nunes, he said, and the quote is, "It looks like tomorrow." He said, "Sounds like tomorrow" for the presser. So we think it'll be tomorrow, as Mark Haynes initially reported last week for that Scott Perry presser. We'll do our best to have that for you. So and when it comes to Sac media needs to be tougher. I would imagine this is what people think that Sac media needs to do and say. And hey, to be fair, we'll never know if somebody was going to ask this because Monty got fired before we had the opportunity. But here is a little clip from the Nico Harrison end of season presser.
Luka comes back to town, the Lakers game's happening, and you're standing there and there's thousands of people chanting for you to be fired. That's an experience that none of us, no one's chanting for for us to lose our jobs. Why shouldn't you be fired?
Well, one, I think I've done a really good job here, and I don't think I can be judged by the injuries this year. You have to judge from totality, from beginning to end. And so I think I have a really good working relationship with Patrick.
Why shouldn't you be fired? That was the question. And if I was Nico, I'd do the same thing. I'm just going to hide behind the injuries because, it is legit, right? And I would say, I do wonder, as we're discussing that these decisions have already been made, I do wonder if the Mavs get embarrassed the same way. I think that they were going to hold on to Nico either way, because if the Mavs get embarrassed the way the Kings got embarrassed, that would have been more expected without Kyrie, and that was only the third game together with all the bigs and Klay Thompson. It's hard to kind of measure Klay Thompson because, he's an elder statesman, and a lot of people thought that he would be getting help from Luka, right? So without Kyrie, the whole thing kind of fell apart, and you didn't have Anthony Davis, and you didn't have a lot of players for a decent amount of time. So that's exactly what I would say if I were Nico, whether it's legit or not. He's basically saying, well, we don't really know if the trade. I don't think that the Mavs were going to win it all. Even when they made the trade, even if they sneak into that 6th seed, which I don't think would have happened, but I don't think that the Mavs were going to make that much noise. But the fact that there were injuries, the Hawks just fired their GM today. If Nico is having his presser, that means he's safe. They're not firing him.
No, and there's no way they could get away with that, because then it would make you look even more ridiculous for trading Luka Doncic than you already did, even though it is a fireable offense, and I can't believe it ever happened in the first place. Right. That would make you look even more foolish if you're Patrick Dumont, the owner. And you mentioned the injuries. Tim McMahon wrote a story for ESPN today that kind of talked about, Nico cleaned out the medical staff that had been there for 20 years brought in his own people, one of which didn't have, or still presently doesn't have, the necessary certification to be an NBA, essentially head of your medical department. And you've seen some of the injuries that have played out this year kind of be attributed to that. And I think that's all part of the storyline here, is that the relationship with the medical staff was a big part of where the relationship with Luka began to sour. They fired some of Luka's people. They fired their head of medical staff was like one of Dirk Nowitzki's best friends and had been there for 21 years. And from there, that's kind of where things fell apart for Dallas. And so I think even that is also that he can use injuries as the defense, but I think the injuries in some ways do fall back on Nico.
Yeah, he also said, I did know, here's a quote, I did know Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't know quite to this level. Okay, Nico. Again, I appreciate the fact that he is just riding it till the wheels fall off. They're not firing him. He is swearing, look, I don't think that Luka is exactly who everybody else thinks he is, and he's fat. He's still fat, and he's still a slob, and I'm pretty sure he still likes hookah. So I'm just going to keep saying that. And you know who's cheering for the Timberwolves? It's Nico. If the Lakers lose in the first round, I mean, I already saw former Kings great Boogie Cousins on your favorite podcast, that FanDuel podcast, the Run It Back pod, and Boogie Cousins, literally, I saw the quote said, was Nico right? As Luka dropped 37. Now, that might say something about everybody that has a mic in front of them these days, but people are actually saying that between the Mavs beating the brakes off the Kings, okay, and hey, a defensive, big, long team with Kyrie and Anthony Davis. And now you have, if the Lakers, now, like I said, Luka did have 37, but now you have the Lakers losing in the first round. Nico could actually survive. He's already survived this thing, but he could come out with hope, assuming Kyrie doesn't ask out. What if they mess around and get Kevin Durant or something?
Well, it doesn't even have to be asked out. Kyrie can just opt out of his contract.
Well, that's what I mean.
Summer.
That's what I mean. Opt out. If you bring back Kyrie and let's mess around and somehow they get KD, could be. I mean, who knows? This all started with the Mavs beating the Kings. That's where this all started.
So I think some people there. If we go back and find it, there's some people who, when Anthony Davis was putting up that crazy 2.5 quarters before he got hurt, were like, "Was Nico right?"
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there were those people, but this comes back to the same exact thing we said maybe the day after or 2 days after the Luka trade, which was. Do you think Anthony Davis can still be the best player on a championship team?
I don't personally.
I don't either.
Yeah.
And that ends the conversation. It's like you closed your championship window by...
Unless you're talking Kyrie.
I don't think... I think we're past the point of Kyrie at 33 with a torn ACL.
It's that, or it's kind of like we've talked about, you're just a really strong roster with the PJ Washington. I don't buy it either, but he looks better now than right now. He looks better right now with the Lakers down 1-0 and the Mavs actually winning a game. They did get beat down by the Grizzlies, who got beat down by the Thunder. So don't get me wrong, but he does look slightly better now than he did.
Sure, he looks better in the sense that the Grizzlies looked better when Marvin Bagley hit that 60-foot shot to cut the deficit from 52 to 49.
There you go. Hey, perfect from the field. 916-339-1140. Before we get to a break, we want to get to John, who wants to have a conversation about Malik Monk. What's up, John? What you got for us?
Yes. I don't know if you've covered this or not, but the last game when they lost to the Mavericks, halfway through the fourth quarter, ESPN scanned the Kings bench, and there was Monk laughing his butt off. I don't know if you guys...
Yeah, we did. We definitely did, but go ahead, John, because I was not a fan of it, for sure.
That really bugged the hell out of me. It's still bugging me today. I mean, here's a guy that hasn't played in the last 2 playoff games, and he's sitting there joking around while his mates are out there 20 points behind.
Yeah.
That didn't sit well with me at all.
Yeah, thanks for the call, John. And look, we get it. I was kind of a jokester back in my day as well. And you're trying to bring some levity to the situation, but I really didn't like it, John. I didn't. It just was poorly timed. I mean, the dude was cackling like a hyena. This wasn't somebody, I don't know, farted on the sideline. I mean, they were having a full-on comedy show while your season's about to end. And it's not his fault that he was injured, and it's not his fault that he was injured last season, but you can at least show a little grace to the fans that have spent hours and hours watching this team, and to the fans in the building that spent their hard-earned money by just kind of keeping it buttoned up for 3.5 hours, especially when you were getting your butt whooped for that last 1.5 hours. So I'm with you, John. I didn't like it at all. I am a huge Malik Monk guy, and I think you need somebody like Malik Monk, especially on the Sacramento Kings, that brings that fire and that passion. But that was a bad look. It was a bad look as far as I'm concerned. Well, we don't have our postseason grade on Malik Monk today. That is coming up this week. Today we have Demar Derozan, Zack Lavine, and Keon Ellis, and we kick it off with Demar Derozan in about 2 minutes. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Breaking: the Sacramento Kings and Scott Perry have finalized a deal for him to become the next GM of the Kings. Keep it here for up-to-date breaking Sacramento Kings news. Sacktown Sports, 1140.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Comcast Business, powering possibilities. Well, a little historical perspective on Jacob Wilson's 15-game hitting streak to begin the season, which ended on the 13th against the Mets. In the expansion era, the only longer streak by an Athletic to start a season, San Javier hit in 17 straight in 1994. The Athletics record, Hank Majeski, 19 straight in 49.
Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business with reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup. Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. For details on special offers, including free professional installation and up to a $500 Visa prepaid card on qualifying internet bundles, log on to business.comcast.com. Comcast Business, powering possibility.
The PGA club fitters at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio know that golf should be fun. They also know that players of all abilities will hit the ball farther and straighter, play better golf, shoot lower scores, and have more fun if they get fitted before they purchase golf clubs. Hagen Oaks delivers the same technology and major brands used to fit PGA and LPGA professionals. See how the game can be even more fun. Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the ultimate lunch lineup boasts wall-to-wall sports and scenic views. When you're hungry and in a hurry, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Diamond Pacific Supply and Trex, Michelob Ultra, and Carl's Jr. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
And now a brief history of the garage door. Garage doors could date back to 450 BC when chariots were stored in gatehouses. Here in the States, they became a thing around the start of the 20th century. You could find a float-over door in a catalog way back in 1906. National Garage Door has been around since 1974. They're family-owned and operated, so you can trust them to solve any garage door issues you may have. Squeaky door, malfunctioning door, or a need for a new door, which is what prompted us to give them a call, 916-638-4554. At National Garage Door Services, their #1 priority. I've witnessed that commitment in my own home, certainly in our garage. National Garage Door sells quality Rainer-branded garage doors. They're the nation's BSE broken spring experts. So if you have a garage door that looks and sounds like it dates back to 450 BC, National Garage Door can help. Whether it's a garage door tune-up, repair, or replacement you need, They'll take care of you at National Garage Door, 916-638-4554. That's 916-638-4554. National Garage Door.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Seth Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is. Live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Seth Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sepp's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sacktown Sports 11.
Are going to give out, and like I said, he's still on the Kings, but so many people think that based on where he's at in his career, based on how much money he's making, based on what he wants out of his career, a lot of people think that DeMar DeRozan will be a one and done. Speaking of one and done, Cooper Flagg has declared for the NBA draft, so we will give you some of those numbers on the chances of the Kings landing the Duke phenom. Yep. And DeMar DeRozan is who we are kicking things off with. And if it is just a one and done for DeMar DeRozan, what a year it was. He played his butt off. It doesn't really fit how the season went because the season didn't go as DeMar expected. But, he had that weird situation at the beginning of the season with his back, which I think worried a lot of us because, he is 35. I think he's about to be 36 years old, but that was really it. After that, he played 77 games. Okay. He averaged 22.2 points per game, which is higher than his career average at 21.3 points per game. Total rebounds, 3.9. He averaged more assists at 4.4 assists per game to his 4.1 career average. 47% from the field, 32% from three, 32.8. Felt like he shot from three better than that. 85% from the free throw line. His effective field goal percentage was 50.9, which is 2% more than his career. And, a lot of people talked about his defense and how can the Kings win with that type of effort. And look, I've continued to say this. If you are bringing on DeMar DeRozan, who is 35 years old and 257 days old, okay, and you're bringing him in to be a stopper on defense. Now, could he have given more effort at times? I don't know. Maybe. But if you're bringing in DeMar DeRozan and you are, come on, man, where's the defense? That's a roster construction problem. He is there at this point in time to get buckets, okay? And you put him on a team, and that's why some people didn't like the move, that was already bad at defense, and you made it worse. That was the issue. My issue is not with DeMar DeRozan and who he is defensively. He's going into his 17th season. We know who he is defensively. You put him on a team that was already lackluster at defense. That's the problem. So our midseason grades, DeMar DeRozan, I gave him a B, and Kyle, you had him at an A-. After that kind of midseason change and the trades and things like that. Look, DeMar DeRozan, he had some game winners. He had some really good moments. And like I said, it seems like it's only going to be a one and done situation, but we'll see what happens. I have him at a B. I think it's going to stay at a B, right? I'm not going to ignore his defense. I'm just saying when it comes to his who he is as a player, you have to put him on a team. And that's why I brought up the Orlando Magic, who are already really good defensively. So, and they've tried to hide DeMar DeRozan, but you're also hiding Zack Lavine. You only can't hide the whole dang lineup. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to kind of just do the easy thing here, Kyle. I don't think he has gotten better or worse since the midseason. If anything, I might even bump him to a B+ because once the Kings lost De'Aaron Fox, he feels like he did more. So I got him at an 86. I could be convinced to round up to an 87 and give him a B+, but I'm definitely not going to go down. It's a chicken or the egg thing where it's, well, is he scoring the most because he has the basketball the most? And because of that is why I probably won't go to a B+. So I think I'm just there with a solid B. He was very good. That's a B. He was very good. Was he a perfect fit? No, but I don't know how much of that is his fault.
So I feel like I'm at like exactly a 90, which is like an A-, which is this. DeMar DeRozan gave you his career average, 22 points. He had 13 games in which he scored 30 or more points, including the famous 42-point game with the step through against Dallas.
Yeah.
Shot 45% from the field. This was exactly what you got for DeMar DeRozan. And the reason I don't want to give him a lower grade is that he doesn't deserve blame for the Kings turning him into a number 1 scoring option, right? At the beginning of the year, he was the unique number 3 who was the number 2 scoring option because Domantas Sabonis is this unique number 1, but he's not a go-to scoring option, right? And so with DeRozan, I don't want to give him you-know-what for not leading them to the playoffs. So it's like this is just who he is, right? The problem was not DeRozan was who he was, and he gave you exactly what he had been bringing to the table ever since he left Toronto.
Literally.
Since he was traded in July of 2018 from Toronto to San Antonio in the Kawhi Leonard trade that led to Toronto winning a championship, he's played 7 seasons for 3 different teams. He has made the playoffs twice. He has made the play-in 5 times, and that's DeMar DeRozan's career, right? Yeah. It's a play-in to play. The Spurs were a 7 seed. The Bulls were a 6 seed. And all other 5 years, he was a play-in team that didn't make the playoffs. This is what DeMar DeRozan as a number 1 looks like. The problem was the Kings trading De'Aaron Fox and making DeRozan the number 1 never made sense, and I don't blame him for not carrying them back to the playoffs.
No.
When they asked him to become the number 1. So I'll sit him right at a 90.
Yeah, this was the literal can't teach an old dog new tricks, and honestly, once you moved on from De'Aaron Fox, you kind of needed him to do his old tricks. So it's not a situation where if he goes to the Clippers, he's going to come off the bench and just go in there and score because we got the crew. These are his last 4 years, okay? Because it felt like he took a lot of shots, right? Everyone, it's just magnet basketball with DeMar DeRozan. This season, he took 17 field goal attempts a game. Last season, 17.2. Season before that, 17.6, and he was an all-star. Season before that, 20.2. Season before that, now we're back in San Antonio, 15.1, 15.4, 17.1, 17.7. All right? Those are just the last up to 2018. His average field goal attempts per game in his career, 16.3. He took 17 this season. So he was just who he was.
Yeah.
That's just who he just came here and was who he was.
Which is fine. He gave us exactly what he was. And by the way, I looked it up just to confirm it. This is where DeMar DeRozan teams have finished since the number 1 seed Raptors got swept out by Cleveland and then they fired their coach and traded DeRozan. 7th, 11th, which was the bubble year. So like they got invited to the bubble. 7th, 11th, 10th, 6th, 10th, 9th, 10th.
Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan, when DeMar DeRozan's your number 1, this is what it is. And we heard Brian Windhorst talk about it last week. They imported a pair that did not work after blowing up the middle of the season. I think unintentionally. I don't think they meant to have DeRozan and Lavine both come back together again, but that's the reality. They imported a team that was a play-in, and they ended up losing in the play-in.
And when it comes to De'Aaron Fox, obviously we would have liked to see more time there. But when it comes to De'Aaron Fox, it's kind of the same idea because you had a situation where De'Aaron Fox will defer. Sometimes you're wondering if De'Aaron Fox wants to be there, right? When does he feel like playing basketball? So we spent the first half of the season trying to figure out, okay, De'Aaron's a clutch player. DeMar DeRozan always finishes top in clutch. So who's closing out this game? And is it going to be DeMar DeRozan or De'Aaron Fox? Or who's starting the game? Okay, De'Aaron doesn't look engaged, so DeMar's going to start off the game. So, there's the Zodiac GM who will say whether teams will work based on their Zodiac signs. I don't even know if it's all that, but you had a guy, you didn't have I hate to say alpha, but somebody in De'Aaron Fox that was, hey, thanks for coming. I'm Batman. That's what they keep saying in Golden State now with Jimmy Butler and Steph. Thanks for coming. I'm Batman. You're Robin. I'm going to set the tone. And if we need you, if I'm cold or whatever, you close the door for us. They didn't have that. So DeMar DeRozan even looked like the number one scoring option before the trade. So nothing ever got kind of figured out as far as who DeMar DeRozan was supposed to be, which was why some people like Legend of Winning, said, hey, DeMar's got to come off the bench, not on this Kings team. The Kings weren't good enough for DeMar DeRozan to come off the bench. And Matt George doubled down on the fit not working, and then they tripled down going with Zack Lavine with the fit not working. So as far as DeMar DeRozan is concerned, I give him a B. The fit was a D minus. It just didn't work.
No, it didn't work and I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to blame DeMar DeRozan for it not working.
I'm not blaming him.
They were factors outside of his control. I just don't think he was this grand disappointment that
no, I don't either.
Some people, Whitey Gleason, feel like they were.
No, but I'll talk to Whitey about this in the crosstalk because it's what exactly were you expect again? How is that on DeMar? Right? It gets to a point where you know who that person is. I talk about this all the time. You have a friend that likes to party, right? If you go out with that friend and they like to get after it, and oh my gosh, he's getting us kicked out, whatever. You've been with that friend for 16 years or a decade. At some point, you got to think he's not changing. So either stop going out with him because your wife might not like him, or understand what you're getting into.
I will say though, it was a lot of fun.
It was.
I'm glad DeMar DeRozan was a king for the season that he was, because it was a lot of fun to watch him play basketball.
It was.
Frustrating at times, but fun.
All right. We continue. We close the loop on DeMar, and then we get to maybe the most confusing name that we will try to evaluate, Zack Lavine. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 biggie bag with a junior bacon cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, junior hot and crispy fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
When I want to stretch out after a long day, my sofa needs to be comfortable, but it also needs to look attractive and inviting when guests come to visit. I am Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. We spend so much time on our living room sofas that we forget they're a focal point and a hint to our decorating tastes. Right now, during Naturewood Home Furnishings sofa sale, you can save on every sofa, including gallery-exclusive custom-ordered flex steel furniture. Whether you're interested in a new sofa, sectional, or recliner, you can choose from hundreds of colors and fabrics. Nobody has more styles and choices than Naturewood Home Furnishings. And when it comes right down to it, it's all about choices and always about quality. Shop Naturewood for the look you love at a price you'll love even more. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable sofa sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
It's the final days of the spring sales event. Drive home your new Honda before the deals and the new Hondas disappear. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord Civic. Visit us today at folsomlakehonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our number one priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Chargers sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
It's Carmichael Dave talking to you about my good friends at American Energy. You're in the Sacramento area. You know how the seasons work. They are a-changing right now. So American Energy wants to help you stay warm for the rest of the cold season, but help you stay cool during the warm season. Best way to do that, make sure your system is operating safely. So right now is the time to take advantage of half off a tune-up, $24.50. They cut that right in half, and if you want a diagnostic, guess what? You can't beat free. If it's free, it's me, and now it can be you. And also, it's the end of the season blowout. $4,000 off a new system plus any rebates. That $4,000, that's a direct drop from the sticker price. It's a great deal. Check them out at theaeway.com or an instant quote, or give them a call at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Tell them your good buddy Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Aggie fans, UC Davis football is hosting their spring game this Saturday, April 26th at 4 o'clock at UC Davis Health Stadium. Free admission for all fans, so arrive early. The doors open at 3. You can enjoy a live DJ, band, and spirit performances and enjoy this community event. All kids under 12 are invited to join the team for a pregame runout and postgame drills event. Fans of all ages are invited to a meet and greet and autograph session following the conclusion of the game. For more info, visit ucdavisaggies.com. Go Ags.
Save $12,750 off MSRP. Every new 2025 Silverado 1500 LT and RST 5.3 at Meta Chevy.
Exclusively at Meta Chevy. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MetaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
See dealer for details.
Live and local.
It's Allen Stiles
on Sacktown Sports.
Our evaluations and our end of season grades today. Demar Derozan, Zack Lavine, and Keon Ellis. We will get through. We're doing 3 a day. Get through the core of the Kings rotation. And 916 is bringing up the point guard thing. Sorry, as I kind of mentioned to y'all before, I don't know why the text line does this. Sometimes they come in very truncated in like 5 different lines. Sometimes they all come in together. But long story short, the 916 is bringing up Tyrese Halliburton and Davon Mitchell. And we touched on that this morning. Also, just kind of saying that you can't blame Debo because there's a lot of other stuff wrong with the Kings, Domantas Sabonis, and how the Mavs were just having their way with Domantas Sabonis in the play-in game. You don't have a point guard, even though you drafted point guards. I think that the Davon Mitchell thing is a smidge overstated. Okay, I think he needed a runway. I will say that it's overstated based on some of the other decisions that were made, right? I mean, I think the Keon Ellis thing, you look around the league, and it's the decisions around Davon Mitchell versus Davon Mitchell as a player. So Davon Mitchell, we watched what happened. Davon Mitchell got beat out by Keon Ellis. We watched it happen. The issue was not that per se, right? The issue was then drafting Devin Carter, because that changed everything. You cannot have 12 guards on your roster. So Keon, you have Malik Monk as your sixth man. Davion was kind of helping out there. He was a sixth, seventh man, depending on what they needed. Davion was getting plenty of opportunities, in my opinion. He wasn't getting a ton of time as if he was a starting point guard, but he was getting time, and he was struggling to shoot the basketball. He's not the purest. Davion is not the purest point guard either, right? He needed time to develop, and the Kings weren't able to give him that time. Keon Ellis comes out of nowhere. When he's not in the doghouse, he's playing very well. And after all that, I think you still could have rocked with him. But then when you decided to draft Devin Carter, it felt like the Kings said that they had enough. And again, still okay if you don't then trade De'Aaron Fox. So again, it's not necessarily about Davion Mitchell to me. It's all the decisions that surrounded Davion Mitchell. Having Davion Mitchell on the team and then drafting Devin Carter. Having Devin Carter on the team and then moving on from Davion Mitchell, but then trading De'Aaron Fox. So it's not purely about how good Davion Mitchell is. It's about all the decisions that just did not make sense surrounding Davion Mitchell. That's kind of the issue for me. I'm not going to sit here and act like Davion is Steve Nash. I'm not going to do that. And I think that's what's happening a little bit. It's all the other stuff surrounding the Davion Mitchell move, right? It's being a part of the Beam team. It's having him on the team, as well as Colby Jones and Mason Jones and all the guards, then drafting Devin Carter. Then, okay, now we have to move on from Davion. Cool. Then you trade De'Aaron Fox. So those are the issues, not necessarily just the black and white, we should have held on to Davion Mitchell. You didn't have to hold on to Davion Mitchell, but the decisions that you made surrounding it makes moving Davion Mitchell look worse.
Yeah, they kind of reset the clock a bit on the draft picks in a sense, because they got to the point where they had to extend or move on from Davion. I mean, they could have played it out this year, and then he would have hit restricted free agency, which, by the way, all those people who really love Davion Mitchell, is 4 years, $80 million. You can bring him back this summer if you want.
Yeah, I mean, just throw him on the team right now, and maybe if whatever world you want to create, De'Aaron's gone, there's no Markelle Fultz, and you have Davion on the team, right? The way we had watched kind of Davion play, maybe he's getting more playing time at this point, especially with Malik being injured. So you still would have a fight going on between Keon and Davion to some level, and they're all under 6'4", 6'3". So maybe they beat the Mavs. I don't know. But I don't think if you were to just, hey, whatever world you want to live in, Davion's still on the team, I think we're still all complaining a lot.
I think it was a case of bad process, indifferent result, right? Nobody was complaining about Davion Mitchell until Friday, right?
Right.
Davion wasn't killing it in Toronto. Toronto gave him away for a second-round pick, right? No one was like, Davion Mitchell is killing it, and how dare we let him go? Yes, the Davion Mitchell trade didn't hurt them, and Devin Carter might end up having a higher ceiling than Davion Mitchell. I don't know. But the process with which Davion was traded off the team, with the assistance of hindsight, did not make a lot of sense. Doing it the Friday, 12 hours after the draft, to clear Sasha's contract, essentially.
To make the draft pick look better, I would say, because everyone's saying, why are you having you have too many guards. Right, I think that was part of it. Oh, well, let's get Davion out of here because people are kind of talking about the roster construction
and get nothing back. We're just gonna salary dump, which now is gonna be a Monty McNair specialty. They salary dumped on Rashawn Holmes. They salary dumped on Davion. They salary dumped on Jaden McDaniels. Not great process. Result, I don't think ends up mattering in the long run.
No, but when you're watching a team. And again, it's, the bar isn't a championship in Sacramento, so you're watching a team who did something that's never been done before, and they're the 10 seed. They get into the playoffs. Your team is at home again for yet another year. Yeah, I'd be ticked off too, but we don't necessarily have to turn Davion into some all-world point guard. A lot of other things make the Davion move look worse. I would agree with that. 12 o'clock hour coming up next. And as we mentioned, Zack Lavine gets his grade. This is going to be a tough one. Maybe you can help us out. 916-339-1140. Allen Stiles, Sack on Sports.
Breaking: the Sacramento Kings and Scott Perry have finalized a deal for him to become the next GM of the Kings. Keep it here for up-to-date breaking Sacramento Kings news. Sacktown Sports 1140.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
If you've always wanted to be a part of that Jeep life, there's no better time than now than the 2025 Jeep Wrangler. And no one has a better selection than Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. The Jeep Wrangler has been unmatched in off-road capability for over 80 years. But being a Jeep owner, it's so much more than the performance on and off the road. It's a lifestyle. It's camaraderie. It's the versatility and the customization. The new Jeep Wrangler, it's better than ever. And you won't be able to find a better car buying experience or selection than at Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Comcast Business, powering possibilities. Well, a little historical perspective on Jacob Wilson's 15-game hitting streak to begin the season, which ended on the 13th against the Mets. In the expansion era, the only longer streak by an Athletic to start a season, Stan Javier hit in 17 straight in 1994. The Athletics record, Hank Majeski, 19 straight in 49.
Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business with reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solution, and Wi-Fi backup. Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. For details on special offers, including free professional installation and up to a $500 Visa prepaid card on qualifying internet bundles, log on to business.comcast.com. Comcast Business, powering possibility.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Bring the whole family to Sutter Health Park for Sacramento River Cats baseball. It's more than a game. It's an experience your kids will never forget. Enjoy exciting action on the field, delicious ballpark food, and fun activities for all ages. From meeting Dinger the mascot to running the bases every Sunday, there's something for everyone. Create lasting memories with your family this season. Get your tickets at rivercats.com.
Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. Subcontractorsunited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
Spring is in the air, and there's really nothing better than hitting the open road in a new Honda. Whether you're shopping for new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. Plus, get top dollar for your trade. And while life's roads are often filled with bumps, buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Wherever the road you travel might lead, Stockton Honda is happy to get you there. Come in today or go to StocktonHonda.com.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Pilati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Hammer time thrown down by Malik Monk. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports, 1140. Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Zack Lavine. Zack was waiting for it. Zack Lavine, the premier name in the De'Aaron Fox trade, as he was tearing it up, man. Really tearing it up for the Chicago Bulls. He was averaging 24 points for them. After he got to Sacramento, a slight change, but nothing too crazy. He was averaging 24 points in Chicago in 42 games. He averaged 22.4 points in Sacramento over 32 games. A lot of this, again, has to do with what the Kings needed versus what they were delivered. Same with Demar Derozan. You're asking Zack Lavine to do some different things that he hasn't had to do in his career. If you look at the assists, these go down 4.5 while with the Bulls, 4.8 with the Bulls, 3.5 with the Sacramento Kings. And, you know, the other part of this too is he's trying to figure things out, right? And I think what I find interesting is Kyle, his turnovers, 2.9 with the Bulls, 2.7 with the Kings. First of all, it feels like he averaged way more than that.
At times it definitely did.
Right? It definitely felt like he was averaging more than 3 turnovers a game.
They must have credited a few of those to Malik Monk.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, he was asked to be more of a distributor of the basketball. Didn't really work out. He's trying to learn how to play with Domas. Domas goes out. So this is a really tough one for me. Tougher than I think any other player on the team, because obviously it's a shortened season for Zack Lavine. You are missing Domantas Sabonis for a lot of it. So how much time is there? We're still getting to know the guy. If we take it off the basketball court, you know, things happen. He said he hadn't seen his family in 5 weeks, whatever it was, had a newborn baby. There were some situations there as well. He missed a game for a personal day, a personal situation. This is a tough one, man. When you talk about separating the human or the artist from the art, this is a really difficult one for me, because people are either going to say that I'm being a bit heartless or that I'm being too easy on him. That's really how it goes. Because I think some people probably want to give him about a C, right? C+. And I would understand that. What I keep going back to is these guys were who they were with their other teams. He was averaging 24 with the Bulls. He averaged 22 with the Kings. And I get it. Some of that was ballooned from, you know, he's a bad team merchant and all that. I know those jokes come out.
He's gone through the holy trinity of bad teams, from Minnesota to Chicago to Sacramento.
Yeah. But I mean, as far as him averaging 22, if you were to separate the games at, you know, the 40 against the Hornets, he goes off, against the Spurs, but then where are you when we need you against the Nuggets or the Clippers, things like that. I get all that. The averages are the averages, though. And clearly, they just looked on a piece of paper, whether that was Monty McNair or Vivek, and said, this should work. And we know Vivek has liked Zack Lavine for a very long time. And the averages are the averages, right? I wasn't double checking who he was doing this against in Chicago. I just saw that he was averaging 24 points, and it looked like he'd been having a really good season.
I know G-Man made the note that his 40-point game this year against the Pistons was also the building where he had his career high. So I'm guessing he has those games against certain teams. Yeah. Obviously, the Pistons were a little bit better this year. I've alluded to this before, but I'm just going to lay it out here so people can make their honest assessment of Zack Lavine. He played 42 games on the Bulls, 32 games on the Kings this year. In his time with the Bulls, he took 710 shots from the field. What do you think his field goal percentage was? And by the way, this is a career high for him. His career high in field goal percentage on the Bulls.
Give it to me.
51.1% on 7.2 attempts per game. With the Sacramento Kings, he took 513 shot attempts, which is equal to 7.3 attempts per game.
Yeah.
Guess what his field goal percentage was with the Kings?
Same thing.
51.1%. Exactly the same. Let's do it for 3-pointers now. 305 attempts on the Chicago Bulls, which comes out to an average of 5.4. What was his percentage? Also a career high, by the way.
44.
44.6. And then as a Sacramento King, taking, I just had the number here, 103 attempts, which comes out to 5 per game. Guess what his percentage was?
44.
44.6%. Exactly the same from the field and from the 3-point line as a Sacramento King and as a Chicago Bull. And he took 1 less shot per game and had 1.5 fewer points per game, which means if he's shooting, his effective field goal percentage was 60% from the field, which means if he had taken that 1 extra shot, he would have scored 0.3 points less as a King than as a Bull. And that could only be attributed to he just didn't get to the free throw line enough.
Yeah.
Zack Lavine was exactly the same player on offense in Chicago as he was in Sacramento, down to the literal tenths of percentage points. He was the exact same player this year in both places, which to me says he did what he was brought here to do. The problem with Zack Lavine is the expectation of, 1, you're making $46 million, and 2, you're supposed to be De'Aaron Fox, and he's not De'Aaron Fox. And that's okay. It's only a problem when he got traded for De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, and look, we had our own conversations about De'Aaron Fox, and, they're starting to go into the sunset now, but De'Aaron Fox wasn't a perfect player either. I think for me, I'm because of everything that happened, because of how open players are about how much they don't like being traded during the season. And a lot of these guys are normally players that are there to help around the outskirts and the edges, not to be the number one option or whatever you may have it. So to me, I can't give Zack Lavine a C. I can't do it. He had an opportunity, I think, to show who he is, and I don't think he fully did. Well, I guess he did, but to show that he can play on a different level, and he didn't do that either. Obviously, a lot of things going on for sure, but he didn't do it. So with that being said, I'm giving him a B- that is pretty close to a C plus. I'm giving him about an 80%. Again, not based on his numbers, because his numbers are very similar to what he did, or some of them are exactly what he did in Chicago, but just with the opportunity to play competitive basketball and not showing up in some of those moments, with all things considered, and that is money as well. So I'm giving him a B-. I don't think I can give him a C+ because of what he did and how similar it was. When you trade for someone, you don't want them to be worse than who they were on the team that you traded them from, right? If you traded for Cam Johnson and his 3-point percentage just takes an absolute nosedive, that's rough. The Warriors, they didn't really give up too much, but DeAnthony Melton, when they traded for Dennis Schroeder, that was a nightmare. It did not work. That is a nightmare trade situation. The Kings didn't have that. He didn't necessarily take a leap, but he was who he was, and 2 points less, but 1 less shot. He was who he was. DeMar DeRozan was who he was. It's just that them being who they are hasn't worked before, And it didn't work in Central Time and also didn't work in Pacific Time. So that experiment is just plain and simple. So I'm giving him a B-. I don't want to give him a C+ with everything that happened around him, but he did have an opportunity, and even in the play-in game. So I got to give him a soft B-.
You did remind me of my favorite joke that came out of last week, which is people were reposting scenes from Tenet where they were like Zack Lavine and Demar Derozan changing their whole season just to lose at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern instead of 7:30 p.m. Eastern in the play-in, which was very clever. I'm going to give Lavine a B+ B because I think the problem is they asked him to potentially come in and be more.
Yeah.
And I think that's also similar to what we talked about with DeRozan, a little bit unfair, given that it was the middle of the season with no training camp and learning how to play with a team that didn't have a point guard, and at times was asking him to play point guard.
Yeah.
So Zack Lavine did exactly what he was doing in Chicago. And by the way, if this were 2021 and Zack Lavine didn't have the reputation he had, he might have made the All-Star team in the East this year. I think that might be more of an indictment of his two previous All-Stars than it is his production this year. But this was, without question, if you look at the numbers, and I have them up here, this was the most efficient season of Zack Lavine's career.
Yeah.
It wasn't a volume shooter, wasn't a number one, and he had the most efficient season of his career. I think if he had a chance to be a number 3 or a number 4 on a true championship contender, he would thrive. He would be like Michael Porter Jr. plus. But that's not the reality of the situation the Kings are in. And so that's tough because they were asking him essentially to be De'Aaron Fox, and he's just not as good of a player as De'Aaron Fox. And I think we underestimate just how large, or maybe how small those margins are, but how large that gap is between a top 30 player in the league and a top 60 player in the league.
Yeah. And again, I still think it's less about the talent factor, because that's exactly what we saw. We saw that they were both averaging 24 points. It was more about fit. So you bring in Zack Lavine, and production-wise, he essentially did give you what De'Aaron was giving you besides the assists. The problem was it just wasn't a good fit. And that, to me, says more about the situation than the talent gap between De'Aaron Fox and Zack Lavine. It just, the fit didn't make as much sense.
I agree in a certain sense, because we both agree. We don't think De'Aaron Fox can be the number 1 on a championship team, right?
Right.
He's probably a number 2 or a number 3, depending on how good your number 1 is. And you could make the argument for Zack Lavine. I personally wouldn't. I think he's in that number 3, number 4 range.
No, I'm not making that argument. I'm just saying the fit was probably just as big as a factor as because production-wise, he essentially gave you what De'Aaron was giving you, but it just wasn't working.
So when you say fit, does that mean fit with Sabonis?
Yes,
okay.
Just with the team in general. And on top of that, defensively, Zack Lavine is not a traffic cone, but he's not De'Aaron Fox. I'll put it to you like that.
It's not great.
No.
There are nerd stats that say he was worse than DeRozan this year defensively.
So that's part of it too. And that hurts a team that was, checks notes, already bad at defense. So I got him at a B-. It's hard for me. I'm just a person that it is hard to separate the art from the artist. And, these players are being really open about not wanting to be traded. And a lot of these guys, you're not trading for a Daniel Gafford, or guys like that. You moved your franchise guy, and, hey, now you do what he was doing for us right now, because we're in the middle of, go do it right now. So I can't give him even a C for that, but I am giving him a soft B-. And, that's where we're going to land with it. In 30 seconds, we give you Keon Ellis' postseason grades. So don't move a muscle. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Breaking: the Sacramento Kings and Scott Perry have finalized a deal for him to become the next GM of the Kings. Keep it here for up-to-date breaking Sacramento Kings news. Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Spring has sprung, and now is the best time to spruce up your home. Between spring cleaning and evaluating your home, it is the perfect time to reach out to the folks at the Overhead Door Company of Sacramento. Jason Ross here, and I'm so glad we did. We reached out, and we're now about a month in to our brand new garage doors. Now, first off, we improved our curb appeal. They look great, and it's one of the first things people notice when they approach your home. A new, modern, stylish garage door can improve the overall appearance of your home, just like it did for us. Also, how about this for a nice benefit? The return of investment. A new garage door is high on the return of investment home improvement project list. It's one of the more cost-effective upgrades you can make to improve your home's value. Hey, see for yourself. Check out their products. Go to the showroom at 6756 Franklin Boulevard and ask about the Sacktown Sports Special. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, the genuine, the original overhead door. Always look for the red ribbon logo.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
Some text coming in about Zack Lavine. Yeah, same idea. It's not necessarily about who he is as a player. It's just the fit wasn't great. You know, it wasn't. And that type of stuff matters. We joke a lot about it not being 2K. And actually, funny enough, Zack Lavine said that during his exit interview. He said this isn't 2K. And we learned it. Some of us already knew it, but maybe others had to learn it the hard way. And that is what we did learn with the Kings the second half of the season, who had some good moments and had some rough moments as well. Well, things kind of worked out for this player more so after the coach's change was made, and even more so after the trade happened, because they were looking for defense and they were looking for a guard, and Keon Ellis said, well, I can do both. Now, Keon Ellis is not a pure point guard either. Let's just follow the theme because the Kings currently don't have one. But Keon Ellis and what he has been able to do defensively is nothing short of amazing. You know, there are a lot of good defenders in the league right now, and I appreciate them starting to be sprinkled into Monty Kamara on the Blazers. You have Dyson Daniels on the Hawks, right? And, you know, some old school players that are starting to really dig in and respect the craft as defense was respected all those years ago. And Keon Ellis kind of fits that bill. He is a dog. He's a scrapper. Davon Mitchell as well, of course. He is a dog. He is a scrapper. Now, we didn't have midseason grades for Zack Lavine, of course, because he wasn't a Sacramento King. We did have grades on Keon Ellis for the midseason situation, and I gave Keon an A, and Kyle Ledbetter gave Keon an A. With that being said, as we move to the end of season grades for Keon, you know, I want to be fair to everyone, and we get to a point where you start looking at value, right? And Keon was a top 10 contract as far as value is concerned. Keon, based on what other players are making and based on what his value is to the Kings, Keon making what, his $2 million, whatever it was, should have been making, based on what he has done for the Kings, should have been making $14 million. That's what we kind of read up on based on the contract evaluation. Keon was worth about $14 million a year this season. And that's a season where, the beginning quarter of the season, he was getting DNPs and was in the doghouse, things like that. So you can imagine if he played throughout the whole season. So based on that, it's really hard to give Keon anything other than an A. And I just think I'm going to keep it simple with the midseason. Now, what I wanted to say is that Keon is not a perfect player. You know, he has to get better offensively. We know he can shoot the basketball. He's going to continue to work on his handle, continue to work on playmaking. So he's not a perfect player, but it's just so hard to look past the value. It's so hard to look past the found money aspect of this and how he was a two-way player. Excuse me, a two-way player, and he started off in the G League and then gets his opportunity and he excels in what he did in the play-in last season. But those expectations are going to continue to rise for Keon. But for now, it's really hard for me to give him anything other than an A. You look at a team that is starving. This brother is starving. This team is starving for some defense. And Keon Ellis brings that each and every night. Now, again, even defensively, there are guys that he struggles with. Some of those shiftier players, it's hard for Keon to keep up with, right? Some of the bigger guards as well, it's hard for him to keep up with. But again, I still think we are in the honeymoon phase with Keon and just the found money aspect of it all. Now, eventually he's going to get a contract that more so suits his value, and we will look at him differently. But it's still really hard to look at Keon and look at what he brings to that team and give him anything other than an A. Especially because he was dealing with honestly, this doesn't really have anything to do with the on-court stuff, but you have the situation where he did handle the doghouse and everything. He never threw a shot. I mean, we had guys like Kevin Huerter, who's in Chicago now, talking about, if I had an opportunity, and Kevin Huerter never took accountability in a Sacramento Kings jersey, at least not while I was covering the team. And that really bugged me. Keon Ellis always took accountability, even if he shouldn't have taken accountability. So that type of stuff for me, even though it's not on the court, it matters. So Keon Ellis was an A midseason for me, and he's an A now, Kyle.
I'm going to stick with that sentiment as well. There's not much more you could have asked from Keon Ellis, and on the flip side of the Zack Lavine conversation, because his contract is so low, he feels like a found money player. Keon Ellis is probably, I feel like we can say this now, he is the best developmental project the Sacramento Kings have had since Isaiah Thomas. I know Isaiah Thomas was the last pick in the second round and all that stuff, but Keon Ellis has now, for 2 seasons, closed the season as the starting 2 guard, played excellent defense. I won't say elite defense because he's not an elite defender. He has a very specific defensive skill set that is very useful and has been the best testament to the G League development program the Kings have had. And you put all of that together, where he was drafted, the found money aspect of it all, and yeah, there's not much more you can ask of Keon Ellis. I don't know if he's part of this long-term future. He's obviously an unrestricted free agent after next year, unless they decline the team option and let him hit restricted free agency this year. So we'll see what happens. But for this year and last year, I agree with a lot of your sentiment. This is a like I said, the best developmental project since Isaiah Thomas, a found money winner, and as good as you're going to find in terms of production relative to expectation for the Kings.
Yeah, look, eventually we'll get to a point where we can evaluate Keon differently, because next season will now be his 3rd season going in, or I guess technically it'd be his 2nd season going into the season as a dude and a core piece of the rotation. 3rd year being a part of it, but 2nd year as far as starting out like that. So we can talk about that differently going into this season, but I do feel like on a team where defense is somewhat optional, you're just going to rock and roll and say, hey, Keon gets an A, and what he's done for this team is nothing short of amazing. And you can look at this team in a different way and say, can you imagine if they didn't have Keon this whole time? Look, maybe Kobe Jones steps up. I don't know. It's possible. Or Davion, because you'd probably still have Davion on the team now that everybody says that he would have been an all-star. So we'll never know, but Keon Ellis gets an A for me. All right. So we're going to take a left turn here. People on the Sac chat, people on the text line, you know my background. You want me to talk about someone that plays not too far from here. Well, I should say is on a team not too far from here, but isn't playing. Let me just say this. If the Kings do this, it would be the most Kings thing ever. I have some insight on this player and whether or not the Kings should go after him. I will tell you who it is, and we break it all down in about 3 minutes. Don't move. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Oh, I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Colin Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Diamond Pacific Supply and Trex, Michelob Ultra, and Carl's Jr. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
And now a brief history of the garage door. Garage doors could date back to 450 BC when chariots were stored in gatehouses. Here in the States, they became a thing around the start of the 20th century. You could find a float-over door in a catalog way back in 1906. National Garage Door has been around since 1974. They're family-owned and operated, so you can trust them to solve any garage door issues you may have. Squeaky door, malfunctioning door, or a need for a new door, which is what prompted us to give them a call, 916-638-4554. At National Garage Door Services, their number one priority. I've witnessed that commitment in my own home, certainly in our garage. National Garage Door sells quality Rainer-branded garage doors. They are the nation's BSE broken spring experts. So if you have a garage door that looks and sounds like it dates back to 450 BC, National Garage Door can help, whether it's a garage door tune-up, repair, or replacement you need. They'll take care of you at National Garage Door, 916-638-4554. That's 916-638-4554. National Garage Door.
If you've been looking for an SUV that combines luxury, comfort, and off-road capability, look no further than the most awarded SUV ever, the Jeep Grand Cherokee at Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. With 470 foot-pounds of torque, a 6,000-pound towing capacity, great gas mileage, the 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee at Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is the perfect SUV for all your needs. See for yourself why people are coming from all over to Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Centrally located across from Hagan Oaks Golf Course, it's the place where a handshake still means something.
It's Carmichael Dave talking to you about my good friends at American Energy. You're in the Sacramento area. You know how the seasons work. They are a-changing right now. So American Energy wants to help you stay warm for the rest of the cold season, but help you stay cool during the warm season. Best way to do that, make sure your system is operating safely. So right now is the time to take advantage of half off a tune-up, $24.50. They cut that right in half, and if you want a diagnostic, guess what? You can't beat free. If it's free, it's me, and now it can be you. And also, it's the end of the season blowout. $4,000 off a new system plus any rebates. That $4,000, that's a direct drop from the sticker price. It's a great deal. Check them out at theaeway.com or an instant quote, or give them a call at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. Tell them your good buddy Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
If your passion is bass fishing, only one radio show has the action, information, and excitement of your favorite outdoor sport. Ultimate Bass, hosted by Tournament Bass Pro and California Outdoor Hall of Famer Kip Brown, takes you live to where the fish are biting every Saturday morning. Only Ultimate Bass feeds your passion with the latest news, products, tips, and advice from the pros. Ultimate Bass with Kip Brown, Saturday mornings at 5 a.m. on Sacktown Sports 1140, part of SEP's Saturday Morning Outdoors.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140
on Sacktown Sports.
One of the most contentious situations within the Warriors organization has been someone that they took with the first round pick, seventh overall in 2021 out of the Republic of the Congo, Jonathan Kaminga, who was seen as a high-ceiling, high-flying forward. A lot of people thought he could be mini Giannis in a lot of ways. Lock you up defensively, do things offensively. And the reality is he's kind of done that. Now, the Warriors have been in a situation where they've stunk, then they've been good. They were good for a long time, then they stunk for a half second because of injuries. They've gotten a bit lucky when it comes to the lottery as far as their opportunities. But what happens when you draft projects a la the Niners and Trey Lance, but you don't have time to let them work it all out? Now, Moses Moody, who was a lower ceiling player than Jonathan Kaminga, also went in that draft. Moses Moody has signed an extension with the Warriors, and he's a starter right now. Moses Moody, again, coming out of the SEC, was not viewed the same way as Jonathan Kaminga. Lower ceiling, kind of is who he is already. On a team with stars like Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry, that's what you need. Jonathan Kaminga has that high ceiling. He's trying to get in his bag. He's trying to score the basketball. He's trying to be a dude. And at times, even this season, the Warriors have needed that. But Jonathan Kaminga has dealt with injuries going into this offseason. They cannot agree on an extension. They go get Jimmy Butler. Jonathan Kaminga gets injured, so they haven't had time to work together. And he is staring restricted free agency in the face, where it looks like the Warriors might be okay with letting him go to the great beyond. Now, all over the text line, the call line, the Sac chat, Sacramento Kings fans are salivating for the chance to get a wing who stands at 6'8", 210 pounds, might be even more than that now, can jump out the gym, can get downhill on you. That's something the Kings haven't seen in a long time. But he's not a perfect player. And I wonder now, when you don that blue and gold, and now you're okay with heading over to Sacramento, will the Kings be in a position where maybe they overpay him a little bit? Somebody might do it. Could it be the Sacramento Kings? Should the Kings be interested in Jonathan Kaminga? The answer is unequivocally yes. But I would caution the Kings, and I would caution Kings fans as somebody that has watched Jonathan Kaminga, and I'm actually higher on Jonathan Kaminga than a lot of others. His defense, he is a pretty darn good defender. Not perfect, but a pretty darn good defender. I would caution Kings fans that he is not a perfect player. What has happened, I was reading an article from Tim Kawakami. Jonathan Kaminga, that relationship is completely fractured. He comes in the building. This is going into the playoffs, mind you. He's in the building. He's out of the building. Doesn't spend a lot of time with the team. He, a couple of years ago, had that report. Again, him and Steve Kerr have been at odds for a long time now. Steve Kerr wants him to play a certain way. Jonathan Kaminga wants to play a different way. But then when they need scoring, they kind of ask for Jonathan Kaminga. They kind of treat him like that person, whether it's a guy or a gal, that I don't want to date you, but when it's convenient, I'll hit you up. But when I'm dating someone else or when I meet someone else, a la Jimmy Butler, I don't need you anymore. That's how the Warriors have treated Jonathan Kaminga. He has not bought in to how they want to play basketball. He does not make quick decisions. And I would be very surprised. Tim Kawakami essentially reported that it's over. So should the Kings be interested in Jonathan Kaminga? We know he wants to get paid. There was no report about what the actual cost was or what the contract negotiations ended at between the Warriors and Jonathan Kaminga. All we know is that they did not come to an agreement. Jonathan Kaminga will hit restricted free agency. And honestly, I'm not sure what his market is. I've been on record saying this. Funny enough, the Warriors are playing the Rockets. I would say that Amen Thompson is essentially ruining Jonathan Kaminga's market because those twins came in extremely similar to Jonathan Kaminga. They can't shoot, but they can defend the heck out of the ball. They're hyper athletic and they find ways to score the basketball. That's what Jonathan Kaminga was supposed to be. And then the shooting comes later. Last night, I see Ahmed Thompson making middies. They're a couple years younger than Jonathan Kaminga. Jonathan Kaminga now 22 years old. So to me, they've kind of ruined the market. I get dragged because when I watched the Kings play the Rockets, I said, this is what I mean when I say there are 10 Jonathan Kamingas running around the G League at all times. Rocket fans thought I was trying to roast Ahmed Thompson. I was actually roasting Jonathan Kaminga and the idea that Warriors fans hadn't seen a high flyer like this in so long that, look, people love the long ball, people love dunks. And as much as everybody loves Steph Curry, you are still enamored by something you can't do. And Jonathan Kaminga is a Skywalker. So a lot of people said, no, Jonathan Kaminga, no, he can do this, he can do that. And I like Jonathan Kaminga, but I do think there's going to be a team out there that overpays for him. And I wonder if that team will be the Sacramento Kings. Because you do need somebody like him. Don't get me wrong. The question is, do you end up overpaying for him? He shoots, here you go, Kyle, for his career. And then I'll go to this season. And now he dealt with a lot of injuries this season. For his career, 258 games, averages 12.5 points per game, 4 rebounds a game, 1.8 assists per game, 50% from the field, 33% from three, 69% from free throw. This season in 47 games, 15.3 points per game, 4.6 rebounds per game, 2.2 assists per game, 45% from the field, and 30% from three, 66% from the free throw line. He's got a ton of talent. But again, if you are the Kings and everything that we've kind of been told about the Kings, right? They don't want to tank. They want to win now. I don't know if they will also be able to give Jonathan Kaminga the runway he needs. Very similar to what happened with the Davion. Now, Davion got time, don't get me wrong, but he's 22 years old. He's still trying to figure out who he is in the league. We talk a lot about there are dudes that are all-around dudes, and they are the stars, and everybody else needs to do a job. What's happening in the Bay is that Jonathan Kaminga thinks he's a dude. His camp thinks he's a dude. At times on the Kings, he's been a dude. But Steve Kerr wants him to be one of those guys that just does his job. That has been the area of contention for years now, and it is over. The report yesterday is that Jonathan Kaminga, I think it was from Anthony Slater, Jonathan Kaminga will not be in the rotation. He did not play last night. He will not be in the rotation. He is being seen as a change of pace guy if the Warriors get into trouble.
Interesting. By the way, Anthony Slater, friend of the station, Anthony Slater, did report back in October that the Kaminga's camp was looking for about $35 million. The Warriors were in about that 28 to 30 a year range.
I'm not giving that is, and it probably went down.
No, he will not get that.
He played himself, honestly.
He will not get that in free agency. He might not even, I don't know his market. Like you said, I don't think he might even get half of that. I mean, if you look at.
He took a gamble. It didn't work out. And look, we can look around. 35 is this is why you need the right people around you. Jonathan Kaminga thinking he's worth $35 million on the Warriors is nutso.
I mean, here's the deal. The contract, if let's say the Warriors contract was $30 million, that's 4-year, $30 million.
Sure.
Each year, 4 for $120. That's what Jalen Johnson just got for the Hawks. That's what Trey Murphy got for the Pelicans.
Yeah, but look at where those teams are and look at where the Warriors are. That's the issue.
I think when they made that offer, though, they were the 10 seed. They didn't have Jimmy Butler yet. They were kind of floundering and didn't have much of a choice in the same way they had no choice but to cash out Jordan Poole. And by the way, I don't think the Kings are in that position either. I would just take the money you're going to offer Kaminga and just give it to Keegan Murray. Let's just do that and then move on with our lives. But at the same time, I understand why it's easier to get that player that you know has had runway in the league and pay them a little bit more versus taking the uncertainty of the lottery draft pick, right? Jonathan Kaminga has not been a bust of a draft pick.
But I don't think it's either or. I think you're trying to add wings to this team. I think this is but that's a problem with the price tag, right? Because this is Jake LaRavia has maybe gone off into the sunset, and now we have Jonathan Kaminga. Do they start? I don't know. We don't need to get into all that now. Here's the issue. Before the season, Moses Moody signs a 3-year deal for $37.5 million. Moses Moody is going to make $11.5 million next season, $12.5 the season after that, and $13.4 the season after that. And he starts for the Golden State Warriors. He starts. Jonathan Kaminga asking for 30 whatever million, and he's out of the rotation. So it's over. We can move forward now.
Yeah.
What they're willing to go for, right? Did he trick off? It's not a Dennis Schroeder type of fumble, but is he willing to go for $20 million? Am I okay with the Kings going after Jonathan Kaminga for $20 million a year, 4 years, $100 million? Those are the types of numbers that I'm torn on, because don't get me wrong, the kid is talented, but if you're trying to make that playoff run now, I'm just finding a way to convince the Nets, who now all of a sudden maybe want to hold on to Cam Johnson. I'm just finding if that, based on what we believe Vivek and the ownership group want out of this, I don't see how a 22-year-old project fits in to that equation. That's really what it is. It's not about Jonathan Kaminga. It's about all they've told us is that they want to compete now. I don't know if Jonathan Kaminga is there yet, and if you pay him a certain amount, and then he's the fourth option, now you're overpaying him. If he is a second option, you're probably not that good. So that's my issue. It's the Jonathan Kaminga, the Kaminga conundrum. That's exactly what it is for me. If you pay him a certain amount, that's cool, but you're probably not going to compete, and you're telling us that you want to compete. If you want to go into the Jonathan Kaminga thing and kind of mini tank and let him grow, and then by the time he's 25, 26, you've taken a flyer, sure. But that's not what they've kind of showed us that they want to do. So that is what I'm dubbing the Kaminga conundrum. And whether or not you are interested in him, 916-339-1140, we can continue to have that conversation. Vincent Goodwill joined the Drive Guys late last week and gave them some great perspective on whether or not the Kings should blow it up. Let's hear what he had to say on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Breaking: the Sacramento Kings and Scott Perry are finalizing a deal for him to become the next GM of the Kings. Keep it here for up-to-date breaking Sacramento Kings news. Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your boat, boat wins.
What are you going to do? Take the boat out for a spin or go mail something? Boat wins! Are we cleaning the patio or taking the boat out fishing? Boat wins! Are we skipping that eye exam to go sailing? Boat wins!
Rescheduling eye exams can be a nightmare.
All right, fine. Eye exam, then boat. Yeah!
With Progressive, you can bundle your boat with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings on your boat. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Save $12,750 off MSRP. Every new 2025 Silverado 1500 LT and RST 5.3 in stock at the Maida Chevy Silverado Supercenter. After all rebates. And Maida Chevy still has one of the largest selections in the Sacramento area. $12,750 off new Silverado exclusively at the Maida Chevy Silverado Supercenter. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Just trading 2011 renewal. Not available with special financing, lease, and some other offers.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Pilati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland, and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
Spring is in the air, and there's really nothing better than hitting the open road in a new Honda. Whether you're shopping for new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. Plus, get top dollar for your trade. And while life's roads are often filled with bumps, buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Wherever the road you travel might lead, Stockton Honda is happy to get you there. Come in today or go to StocktonHonda.com.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. Subcontractorsunited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
It's a myth to think you don't play golf well enough to get fitted for golf clubs. The professionals at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio would argue that playing the game with golf clubs properly fitted to your body and swing characteristics is the best way to improve your game and have more fun on the golf course. With a professional staff of fitters, all the major brands of equipment, and cutting-edge technology featuring TrackMan, the indoor-outdoor Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is worth a look. See for yourself, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway. Schedule your fitting at 916-808-2531, 808-2531.
49ers are on the clock. Don't miss Sacktown Sports coverage of the upcoming draft. Brought to you by Twin Peaks, the ultimate sports lodge. No one covers pro football like Sacktown Sports, and there's no place better to enjoy it than with over 80 screens at Twin Peaks. And their ice-chilled 29-degree drafts at the 5 p.m. happy hour kickoff.
Live and local.
It's Allen Stiles
on Sacktown Sports.
Talking some free agents and some free agents that aren't too far away. Of course, since I brought up a free agent that plays on the Warriors, everybody's accusing me of talking about the Warriors, which would be really hard to talk about Jonathan Kaminga without talking about the Warriors, but hey, I'll try to do that. I'll try to do that next time. 916 says a lot, just saying about Davon Mitchell. Hey, we're just putting things into perspective. Some people are putting things in perspective about Davon. Some people are doing a little bit too much with Davon. They also say that they said no one is saying Davon is an all-star, just trying to put things in perspective. Some people are, but I hear you. They also said, my head hurts. You are promoting Jonathan Kaminga as a dog, and I agree, but you're telling teams not to take a chance on him. No. And they say, my head hurts. No. I'm not saying teams shouldn't take a chance on him. I'm saying it depends what the price tag is. And if he wants 30 plus, I'm not paying that. How much did this change? How much did his market change? And how much did his camp change based on what happened this season? The perplexing thing, as the 916 says that I am very perplexing. The perplexing thing is that Jonathan Kaminga was probably having the best season of his career prior to the injury, but the Warriors weren't very good. Let's also keep that in mind. So Jonathan Kaminga was cooking, but that's when Kings fans were. I remember I was watching a post game on NBC, and I'll never forget this. Deuce Mason, and kind of lucky that Warrior fans didn't spin the block. I think Warrior fans are just kind of done with it for now. But Deuce Mason was roasting because on their graphic on NBC Sports, the Warriors, they weren't even in the graphic. And Deuce kind of threw a shot at the Warriors saying, where are the Warriors? That's when Jonathan Kaminga was cooking. So he was playing well, but the Warriors weren't good. And that's what is confusing about it. So they could say, hey, well, he was playing the best basketball of his career, right? Then they got injured and he fell out of the rotation. So I don't know what in the world they think the Kaminga market is. And we'll definitely keep an eye on it.
Well, isn't it probably going to be that second tier range? Like we talked about it with Keegan Murray, right? Mm-hmm. And honestly, Kaminga's market might inform Keegan's a little bit. But if, Denny Advia got 18, but Jaden McDaniels got $28 million a year I guess his was 26 for 5 years. Mm-hmm. But like if Jaden McDaniels got 26 and Denny Advia got 18 at the time,
he should not be getting paid more than Jaden McDaniels.
No,
there's no way.
I think that's kind of the same thing you could say about Keegan Murray, right? Mm-hmm. Kaminga's going to be.
I think Keegan should get paid more than Kaminga.
See, and then Keegan averaged fewer points, but he plays better defense. Yeah. So that's kind of the tread there. I think that's kind of the answer, right? Is they're kind of in that same group. And by the way, if we go back to that Keegan Murray contract that we had before, I'm just pulling up the numbers real quick here. I mean, this offseason, this might hurt Kaminga in the sense that you've got Jabari Smith Jr. eligible for an extension, Jovic, Jeremy Sohan, Benedict Mathurin, Tari Eason, like the teams that are contenders that might be a Kaminga away or interested in Kaminga might just re-sign their own guys.
Yeah, and money-wise, and that's what I'm saying here. The league has moved towards these athletic six, besides the Kings, the rest of the league has moved towards these 6'5" and up wings. So most teams have someone like Kaminga that they're trying to. The Pelicans have about 12 Kamingas on the team.
Yeah, but there are teams that, well, I guess I should say this, that the outright tanking teams like Brooklyn, they could use a Kaminga. Sure. And they can invest in that project. But like,
so could the Jazz if they wanted. But why would the Jazz do that?
You have to spend the money on someone. And I will also acknowledge, like, all of these numbers are about to change because that salary cap is going way up next year. With the new television contracts kicking in, that salary cap, a lot of teams are going to have more available cap space. And these numbers, like we say 20 right now, next year 20 could be the new 25. Mm-hmm. It's like these contracts are all going to go up and up and up in value. That's why we should use percentage of salary cap as a better metric, but that's way too hard to explain to people. So I think the numbers make way more sense. I feel like there are teams out there, the Pacers. Pacers could use a Kaminga. The Pistons could use a Kaminga. Milwaukee needs a Kaminga at this point. There are those teams out there, but
again,
at what price?
Yes, at what price? And is he to the point now where he has learned, okay, this is who I am in the league? If they're still trying to sell, he's a number one, number two, mini Giannis, that's a problem.
Okay, I just figured it out in my head. My head kind of clicked. Pool boy and Kaminga, baby.
Oh,
Washington
Lord.
Wizards pool party.
Now I'm watching. Now I'm in. Now I'm back in.
Yeah, no, cash him out, $100 million.
Yeah.
Him and Jordan Poole can just do whatever the hell they want.
Yep, reuniting.
While the Wizards, honestly, this is the money they were originally going to give to Poole, and now they're not giving it to Kaminga.
Yeah.
So now the Wizards should just take both of them.
And they can just talk about how much they can't stand Draymond together.
Dylan Harper and Kaminga and Jordan Poole and Alex Sarr. Hell yeah, I'm in.
Look, they can beat the Kings. They already beat the Kings. 916 says, why not do both? Pick up a project in free agency while trading for good young players like Trae Young. But the Kings need to get young. Move on from Lavine, DeRozan, or both. We don't have to blow everything up, but the team needs to change. Yeah, that'd be great, 916. You cannot do all of that.
I just don't know what people think Demar Derozan's value is at this point, right? Like, what are we giving up to get Trae Young? Because this is the thing I keep saying with the Trae Youngs and the Ja Morants and Zions. It's nice to talk about it. Just know the Kings don't have the best trade package. Like, if they flip Zion for Sabonis, okay, we can talk. But, like, if they want to do the package of players and picks, they'll just send them to Portland where they can get Klingon and Simons and a lottery pick this year. Like, the Kings don't have the best trade package.
Yeah. So to the 916's point, I think something will be done. I don't know if all of that will be done, but something will be done. And as far as the conversation of blowing it up or not blowing it up, that's why we're going to get to Vincent Goodwill of Yahoo Sports, who was on with the Drive guys, and he gave some good perspective on blowing it up. And, you know, even though that's the hot, sexy thing to do right now, it's not as easy as what everyone thinks. The 1 o'clock hour comes up next. We will hear from Vincent Goodwill in about 3 minutes. Don't move. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Get 5 quarts of O'Reilly full synthetic motor oil and a MicroGuard oil filter for $29.99. In-store only. Limit supply.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Wow, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Say no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Mother's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for moms and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Out on the road, there's just one place when you walk on in, you see a friendly face. It's Big O. Big O Tires.
Now through April 27th, get $50 to $100 instant savings on 4 select in-stock Cooper, Bridgestone, Firestone, Pirelli, or Hankook brand tires with installation purchase. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Installation required. Disposal fees and shop fees extra where permitted. See store for pricing. Eligibility may vary. Not valid with other offers.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Diamond Pacific Supply and Trex, Michelob Ultra, and Carl's Jr. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
What would it take for a plumbing company to earn your trust? Jerry and Kenny here from Bell Brothers. And let's face it, plumbing and service companies don't always have the best reputation.
So to earn your trust, the first thing they'd have to do is actually answer the phone when you call with a real live person. Then they'd have to send a plumber when you needed them, day or night, without charging extra for emergency services.
A trustworthy plumber would show up on time, wearing a clean uniform and name badge, and be able to show that they had passed a background check and drug test.
A plumber you could trust would give you a firm quote on the job before starting and clean up after they finish the job.
That's exactly the plumber you'll get when you call Bell Brothers. A plumber you can trust. Call Bell Brothers right now for all your plumbing needs. Our number is 916-444-1234 or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Hey, I'm Allen Stiles. Have an injury? Call Downtown. Downtown LA Law Group, an injury law firm, has many happy clients in Sacramento and the surrounding areas who have called Downtown. Get paid for your injuries from slip and falls or auto accidents. One of their most recent settlements was $1.5 million for a motorcycle accident. Have you had an auto accident? Call Downtown. Text injury help to 40222. That's injury help to 40222. 888-866-8822 and visit them at calldowntown.com.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is. Live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sacktown Sports 1140.
KHD 1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140. Your home for Kings Talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Should the Kings blow it up? And yes, a lot of people on the text line saying they will never blow it up. 916 says they will never blow it up. The 440 says they won't blow it up. Another one, ownership from the 916 wants to make money, and they just got Lavine, who Vivek loves. And on the other side, people saying, hey, they don't have to blow it up. You know, I don't want them to blow it up. They just have to tweak some things. So a lot of people said, I wish they would blow it up. And why won't that happen? That's what we want to happen. So we can be the Rockets, so we can be the Thunder. Not the Wizards, not the Blazers, but the good teams that figure it out when they blow it up.
Not the Chicago Bulls.
Not the Bulls. The good teams, because that's what would happen. Well, that's not always what happens. Here is Vincent Goodwill, who is on with the Drive Guys, who gives some great perspective on blowing it up. Here it is.
So, Vincent, a debate that's been raging this year amongst Kings fans, who are as divided as they've ever been, is, well, maybe they should tear it down. No, you don't want to do that. Now, they almost certainly won't. Ownership has shown no appetite for that. So it's very unlikely to happen. But do you think there's an argument there? Should the Kings consider tearing it down and just going into a total rebuild / tank mode?
I think that's always a sexy thing to say until you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody says tank, 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 because you're assuming that you're going to get the number one pick. And you're assuming that this number one pick is going to be this franchise-changing, healthy superstar that's going to immediately change your life from year one. So many things have to go right, guys, from the moment that you engage in this. Because basically what you're saying is the talent that we have, the players that we have in our roster isn't good enough. The culture that we're trying to build isn't good enough. That means you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball to say we have to do everything right. We are starting from an expansion-like space. And I don't know if anybody has ever been that good. Everybody says tank, and nobody goes and looks at what the Philadelphia 76ers haven't done for 20 damn years. All that stuff sounds nice. You tell me what playoff game the 76ers, being in a big market, having all those draft picks and everything else, what has that yielded them?
There you go. That's what we've been saying. It's a game. Everything is a gamble, man. It's all a gamble. If you can figure out a way to limit your gambling, and the approach is, hey, we get known commodities and a couple gambles that we take work out, right? And those gambles could be draft picks. So you get known commodities that work together, which hasn't been the case in Sacramento, but the thought process isn't a crazy one. Going back to other writers that cover the NBA that we've talked to, hey, you can do the draft thing and continue to try to build that way, or you can play for playoff revenue, and one of these days things will work at a high level and you'll have a nice playoff run. Will you win a championship that way? I don't know. You could have a nice playoff run. The problem is the Kings, who have been trying to do the latter, have not done that well. You're just grabbing anybody that is willing to come to Sacramento and just hodgepodging it together. You know, when you look in your fridge and you're hungry, you don't want to spend money, So you got some stuff that doesn't really make sense. You got some leftover pizza, a little bit of Chinese, and you think, I'm hungry. I really don't want to spend money. I can tough it out, right? I can tough it out. That's kind of what the Kings have been doing. They're finding stuff that isn't bad, but just doesn't really fit together. And that's where they are now, where you can make it work. Some of the best meals come from leftovers that you've had, but it just hasn't fit very well. So you're looking at two paths that the Kings have, and you have to find a way to start. If you're going to continue to just, okay, we're going to grab this player, we're going to grab that player. The one thing, as we believe we will hear from Scott Perry tomorrow, not confirmed, but unofficially confirmed from those that I've talked to. The one thing is, hey, what type of freedom am I going to have? And okay, cool. This is the direction, because that's what a lot of people have said about Farhan. Farhan was the scapegoat, but Farhan was also brought in for the San Francisco Giants to fix some of the bad contracts that they had. He was there to save money. It ain't his money. He doesn't care how much money he spends. That's what he was told to do. And he took the heat because of it from the fans. So, hey, all right, cool. Again, going back to what would Scott Perry do, right? Okay, or if you were Scott Perry, you just touched down in Sacramento, what would you do besides grabbing some good food from the Fort capital of the world? All right, cool. So this is your approach. All right, Mr. Vivek, you don't want to blow it up. We're going to continue to try to piecemeal this thing together. That sounds like a plan. Who are the untouchables in your mind? And who would you prefer me not to touch, right? There's untouchables and there's we'd rather not move this guy. The Kings have a couple we'd rather not move this guy. I don't know that they have any untouchables. So, all right, this is where we're at. This is how I think we're going to get there. We're not going to get there by bringing in more offense. We're not going to get there by continuing to bring in whoever is willing to come. Oh, okay, we're going to pay DeMar DeRozan a little bit more so he comes to Sacramento because he's a good name. He's a good dude. He's a heck of a player. Does he fit? But he's down to come to Sacramento. It's quote-unquote home, even though it's 7 hours away. And he's in Kendrick Lamar music videos. So we're going to bring him in. All right, can we stop doing that? Do I have the freedom to stop doing that? Can I bring in, if we're going to go this route, if we're not going to blow it up, can I bring in people that are going to make sense? That's number one. Because you can get to the playoffs this way. You have enough. But you're overpaying Zack Lavine. Fine. That is something. Scott Perry, when he accepted this position, he knew that. Some maybe would say that Domantas Sabonis might be slightly overpaid, but it's nowhere near as egregious as Zack Lavine. You can make it work.
He's making market rate.
So you have those two guys. Everybody else, where do they fit? How do you get the most? Because honestly, we spent so much time talking about the relationship between Domantas Sabonis and Zack Lavine. If you bring in the right point guard or that right third player, that relationship still needs to be good, but it doesn't have to be as important as it was this season. This season, it had to be incredibly important because you had no point guard. And Malik Monk wasn't on the court. He was laughing on the bench. So you have to find it. You have to bring in a point guard that you feel can help everyone be better. Zack Lavine and Domantas Sabonis was injured as well. That relationship will continue to grow. Will it ever be perfect? I don't know. But you have to bring in somebody else so that it's not as imperative as it was this season.
Well, and you also have to do it without a draft pick and potentially limited trade assets to work with and things like that, which the other point about this that I think people skip over is like, it's easy to say I would trade Domantas Sabonis for X player or Y player. We're talking about an all NBA center who plays all the time. And I know he's not young, but he's still in his prime and playing some of the best basketball of his career, right? And you can project that, oh, he won't come back or, oh, he won't do this or that. But like, if you make that trade and do the blow it up idea, you're not going to see a player that good playing for the Kings in Golden One Center for 4 seasons.
Yeah.
That's the deal you make, right? Like Orlando, you would argue Orlando is a good example of a rebuild, right? They sped up their timeline fast. They got tired because they lost in the first round twice. And so they made the tough decision to trade Vucevic and Gordon and Fournier, and they hit on 2 draft picks in 2 years, Wagner and Paolo back-to-back.
Right.
And so far, all it's netted them is back-to-back years losing in the first round, right? They went through all that just to get back to the exact same spot they were, which was a 7 seed getting bounced out of the first round 2 years in a row. And I know some people will make the point, oh, they're going to project to get better and things like that. But what is the cost of doing that when you already have the pieces of a winning team here? I'm not saying that they're going to win a championship or even be a top 4 seed in the West, but it's a lot better than just punting on 4 seasons without any knowledge or trust that they're ever going to get back to this point.
Yeah, and I'm not necessarily a fan of blowing it up because, look, the reality is I'm not gonna run from it. The radio shows hit different while teams are blowing up. People care less. All right, I don't think that's a surprise.
Yeah, because the games don't matter.
The games don't matter.
The entire season is built around 14% in the ping pong lottery.
So selfishly, do I want the Kings to blow it up? Hell no. I like the energy. I like the belief. Now, some of it, I think, going into the season, I thought the Kings had a chance, maybe not to have a parade, but to get to the second round. And hey, who knows if this thing works, even though a lot of us didn't think it would. But you blow it up and we know what it is, or we don't. We are hoping that it works out. But you look at what Orlando did. We just talked about the Davon Mitchell draft. Orlando, when you talk about who they hit on, they hit on a Franz Wagner, but where Franz was even taken, he was taken 8.
Yeah.
Right? They could have easily messed that up. Easily. Or I wouldn't say mess it up, but with that 8th pick, a lot of things could have went wrong, and all of a sudden you're stuck. And I think Orlando, I think you're lowballing Orlando a little bit. They had some crazy injuries. I think they will get there because I'm just really high on Franz and Paolo.
Yes.
It's easy you have your cornerstones. The rest you should be able to figure out. But you're sitting there and you're tanking, and you're not necessarily getting a 1, 2, 3 pick every season, which, by the way, even if you do, you can still screw up, as we know as Sacramento Kings fans.
Marvin Bagley.
As we know as Sacramento Kings fans, who is now an all-star because he had a good game against the Thunder and they lost by 50. But you have you get an 8th pick, you get a 7th pick, whatever it is, you could keep flopping.
Okay, so let's use the example of a bad one, right? Chicago. Mm-hmm. When Chicago traded Jimmy Butler, this is what they ended up getting. They got Larry Markkinen was the piece they got in the deal.
That's right.
Then they drafted Wendell Carter Jr., then they drafted Patrick Williams.
Eesh.
Then they drafted Kobe White. I'm flipping the order of the years a little bit.
Who's in Orlando now.
But again, after it flopped, they flipped Wendell for Vucevic because they decided, wow, we just screwed up our rebuild. Mm-hmm. We're not just going to rebuild again. We're going to just cash out on Vucevic, give Lonzo Ball $100 million.
And go to the play-in.
They got one playoff win.
Yeah.
They won one game in Milwaukee and then lost in 5, but they did win one playoff game for $500 million, right? And so the point is, you might not get back to this. You think this sucks? You might not get back here.
Yeah.
Because as Vinny Goodwill pointed out, you got to have organizational alignment in 4 or 5 different places. And even the best case scenario, like the 76ers, from when they traded Drew Holiday to start the teardown to when Joel Embiid was an all-star for the first time, that was 5 years. It took 5 years for them to get back to where they were when they decided to start the teardown.
A little bit of pocket watching when we return, some game 2s going down that you don't want to miss out on. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Malik Monk is Sacktown Sports.
Oh my, what an athletic move that time by Malik Monk.
Hey Sacramento, it's Malik Monk and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area. Unless otherwise specified, employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win. Unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion, persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khtk.com.
Insurance companies perform a very valuable service, but they want to keep their money. Although most cases settle before trial, it is paramount that the insurance companies know that if pressed, your legal team has the experience to take your case all the way. For 25 years, Ashton & Price has earned the reputation that if the insurance company isn't fair, we're ready to force them to be fair. My mom used to warn me, wait till dad gets home. Think of us as dad. The best part, there's no fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
In about 10 minutes, we premiere a new segment. Now that the offseason is here, we got more segments coming for you. Obviously, plenty of Kings talk. Going to get back into some NFL with the draft this week as well. Major League Baseball, the A's, Giants are rocking and rolling as well. But in style, out of style, that is the name of the segment, and that is coming up in about 10 minutes. And I'm really excited for this first one. It connects to the Kings and the chances of them landing that first pick in the draft. Tonight, things cool off a little bit, I would say, with the games this weekend. It felt like there were 8 games a day. It was awesome. Tonight, there are only 2 games, the Pistons and the Knicks, and the Clippers and the Nuggets. The Clippers really tricked off an opportunity in Denver, and that could change the complexity of this game. Or they win tonight, and we find out that the Clippers are maybe better than the Nuggets. So as far as the Pistons and the Knicks are concerned, I was really excited about this matchup. I still am. It's at 4:30 our time. The Pistons, look, I know how it goes in New York, so the Knicks are probably going to win tonight. The Pistons, I think these are 2 stories of teams that have turned it around in 2 completely different ways. The Knicks, they had draft picks. They've kind of missed on a lot of their draft picks, but they're the Knicks, and they eventually figured it out. I mean, getting Jalen Brunson, whose pops works for the Knicks, you go get Karl Anthony Towns, you create the Villanova Knicks. I think that they slowly but surely got there. You do hit on some of the guys, the Hartensteins of the world, who no longer on the team, but they've had some good runs. I don't know how elite the Knicks are, but I think they're a good basketball team. They tried to, what was it, the first role player, the first role player, big 5 or whatever, big 3 or super team, the first role player super team. It seems like that's exactly what they are, and that's what. Wouldn't you say that the Cavs are really the role player super team more so than the Knicks?
I would say no, because I think Donovan Mitchell is a top 10 player in the NBA who has had postseason success before. Honestly, you could say that about the Cavs, but most people aren't picking the Cavs to win. I'll tell you that.
That's true.
Most people still believe in Boston.
So they did it a couple different ways. The Knicks did their rebuilding, and the Pistons, I think the Pistons more so mimic the Kings in how they got it done, if as far as the blow-up model. Not that the Kings are going to blow it up. The Knicks actually more so follow the model that the Kings are trying to follow, but obviously the Knicks, the Kings aren't going to get a Jalen Brunson in free agency and things like that. But that's kind of what Vivek is attempting to do, but you're paying a lot of money to Karl Anthony Towns. Jalen Brunson kind of took that weird pay cut. You gave up, you gave up all those picks for Mikal Bridges. So that's been the issue with the model that the Kings are following. It's hard to follow that model on a budget. And that's essentially what the Knicks haven't really followed a budget. They've decided they go get OG Anunoby, they trade for him, and that's kind of how they have sold the guys that they did, quote unquote, hit on, the RJ Barretts of the world, where they have done enough to, okay, hitting on a draft pick doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to keep that pick forever. Sometimes hitting on a draft pick means, hey, Emmanuel Quickly, hey, now we can move from the Quentin Grimes. Now we can move on for them and get something back. So the Knicks did do it through the draft, but it was kind of a hybrid model. The Kings are trying to just draft a little bit where they don't even have draft picks, and they have some young talent. They've brought in some talent. I would say that's what they did with Halliburton and Sabonis, and I would say it's been a success. Now you're trying to get to that next level, and that's where it's, well, you might have to open your wallet in order to get there.
Or you might have to make some hard pivots, right? Because the Knicks got back to the playoffs, if you remember. That was the team that had, remember the Trae Young bowing to the crowd season and all that stuff? Mm-hmm. That was Julius Randle and a bunch of dudes, right? Yeah. Right. It was Barrett, it was Quickly, it was Mitchell Robinson, like that was the Julius Randle is carrying us to the playoff. And they pivoted to build around first Brunson, and then Randle kind of went from being the number 1 to the number 2 to like the number 4 last year.
And then he got injured during the playoffs, and everyone said goodbye, please.
Yes. And they got Karl, and I think Karl's going to be excellent. He's going to be overpaid. There's no way around that, but they knew what they were signing up for. And I feel like if you're the Kings, you're kind of in that camp, but that also requires you to get an all NBA guard in free agency for less than $100 million, like the New York Knicks got. And I just think the bottom line is you got to get lucky. Somewhere you got to get lucky if you're going to make that pivot, or find value somewhere that everyone else in the league is not. Maybe for some people that's Zion, I don't know, but you just got to find value somewhere if you want to try and follow the quote unquote Knicks model, which, hey, Scott Perry's coming from the Knicks, so who knows?
And as far as the Pistons are concerned, I don't want to hear it from anybody. If anybody calls in and says we need to follow the Pistons model, you will get hung up on, because let's not forget how long that model took. Just because they're hot now, you want to talk about the Rockets or the Thunder, sure. The Pistons, that literally, I think, helps the argument to not blow it up because of how long it took them. And we have no clue how long they will be relevant. I'm really high on Cade Cunningham, but it took those brothers about, 20, whatever it was, 20 years?
I think 15 since their last playoff win, right? If they haven't won a playoff game since 2008. So that tells you that much about the Pistons.
So we are not following anyone's Detroit Pistons model.
The Pistons, that was about to be the most shocking result of the weekend. I flipped that game on briefly, and it was like the Pistons were up 10 going into the fourth quarter. I was like, I'm shocked by that, because I thought the Knicks would light work, take care of the Pistons. And then I went away and I came back and I saw there was a 21-0 run. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what was supposed to happen. The Knicks were like, okay, that's cute. Now we're going to beat you.
Right.
This series might be a sweep.
It's not going to be a sweep.
I think this series, maybe 5. I think this series might end up in a sweep.
We can have a wager if you want.
What do we want to put together here? Do we have to do karaoke on the air, a punishment of some sort? What are we doing?
No. I'm talking food.
Food?
Yes.
You want me to bring you food?
That's right.
You want me to bring you Taco Bell?
That's it right there. So if you're just now listening, on Friday we found out that Kyle, at 20 whatever years old, has never gotten Taco Bell because he is a food snob when it comes to Mexican food, because he grew up in San Diego. So we found out that Kyle has not had enough life experiences and he never had Taco Bell. So now, Kyle, if the Pistons win a game, you have to bring me Taco Bell. Now what happens if the Pistons don't win a game?
If the Pistons don't win a game, you have to bring me
Taco Bell.
I mean, I don't really want Taco Bell.
You need Taco Bell.
That feels like more of a punishment for me than
That's
it is
true.
for you.
That's true.
You're punishing me by eating Taco Bell.
Okay.
All right. You're going to have to pull out your wallet and buy. I made the joke about Jack in the Box last week. You're going to have to get me Nice little $10 Jack in the Box meal, little sandwich, little tiny tacos.
That's a deal.
We'll put that together.
That's a deal.
I think the Knicks are going to sweep the Pistons.
That is a heck of a deal. I'm in. Pistons win a game. You buy me. You buy us Taco Bell.
Well, hold on. I want to change the terms a bit because it's obviously you have 4 chances.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah,
you have a better chance to win. I just want to say that we can double your order here. Can you call your shot? Which game are they going to win?
I'm not doing that.
Just try it. 2.
They'll win a game at home.
Okay, so 3 or 4?
Yes.
You don't want to call your shot?
Well, they're gonna have to win 3 or 4, or I'm buying you whatever, a Jack in the Box.
You don't want to call your shot?
Game 3.
Game 3?
Game 3.
All right, you're saying game 3. I'll get you the food either way. I just wanted to.
No, you're gonna get us the food.
Well, we'll see. I don't know how much I want to. What was it? What'd you call it? A Mexican pizza?
Mexican pizza, Crunchwrap Supreme.
What is that?
Once the Pistons win, I need the listeners to text in and Sack chat in and give me what Kyle should get for his first Taco Bell experience. On the other side, we premiere a brand new segment, In Style, Out of Style. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Breaking: the Sacramento Kings and Scott Perry are finalizing a deal for him to become the next GM of the Kings. Keep it here for up-to-date breaking Sacramento Kings news. Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Everyone has a past, but what happens if you've made mistakes and made good on that past, but it keeps following you? Are you looking for an attorney to erase past records and restore your rights? Maybe even restore your gun rights? Do you need a reputable criminal defense attorney who knows even good people make bad mistakes? Well, the attorneys at Gonzalez Law Office are here to help. Find Gonzalez Law Office online at saclegaldefense.com or call them at 916-304-9187. We don't settle for less, and neither should you.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Listen for the Toyota Tahoe Report every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with Johnny Mosley to get the latest weather conditions in Tahoe throughout this snow season. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, and advanced fiber solutions, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business.
Switch today and ask how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig speed package. Offer ends 4/21/25. New customers only with a 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
And now a brief history of the garage door. Garage doors could date back to 450 BC when chariots were stored in gatehouses. Here in the States, they became a thing around the start of the 20th century. You could find a float-over door in a catalog way back in 1906. National Garage Door has been around since 1974. They're family owned and operated, so you can trust them to solve any garage door issues you may have. Squeaky door, malfunctioning door, or a need for a new door, which is what prompted us to give them a call, 916-638-4554. At National Garage Door Service is their number one priority. I've witnessed that commitment in my own home, certainly in our garage. National Garage Door sells quality Rainer branded garage doors. They are the nation's BSE broken spring experts. So if you have a garage door that looks and sounds like it dates back to 450 BC, National Garage Door can help, whether it's a garage door tune-up, repair, or replacement you need. They'll take care of you at National Garage Door, 916-638-4554. That's 916-638-4554. National Garage Door.
Bring the whole family to Sutter Health Park for Sacramento River Cats baseball. It's more than a game. It's an experience your kids will never forget. Enjoy exciting action on the field, delicious ballpark food, and fun activities for all ages. From meeting Dinger the mascot to running the bases every Sunday, there's something for everyone. Create lasting memories with your family this season. Get your tickets at rivercats.com.
It's the final days of the spring sales event. Drive home your new Honda before the deals and the new Hondas disappear. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at folsomlakehonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our number one priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
At Big O Tires, now through April 27th, get $50 to $100 instant savings on 4 select in-stock Cooper, Bridgestone, Firestone, Pirelli, or Hankook brand tires with installation purchase. Disposal fees extra, not good with other offers. See your locally owned Big O Tire store for pricing.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140.
on Sacktown Sports.
Talking about our little wager, if the Pistons win a game or not. Kyle Ledbetter, our young producer, has never had Taco Bell. I don't know why I'm saying young as if that has anything to do with having Taco Bell or not.
No, this is by choice.
Jeff says, I don't know what Kyle's going to order. I need your help. Jeff says, I know what Kyle's going to get, and it's called diarrhea.
Yeah,
probably for his first time.
Yeah.
By the way,
the human body is not prepared for meat that costs less than a pack of gum.
By the way, if the Pistons don't win a game, I have to buy Kyle Jack in the Box. So either way, I think we're headed to it's like when you throw a bunch of food in a smoothie. We're all headed to the same place at the end of the day if we're talking Jack in the Box.
I don't know. My intestines were fortified in the fires of Jack in the Box as a child.
Well, then you should be able to handle this. All right, we are premiering a new segment now that the season is over. We will be doing more of this, more segments to come. And this one is called
In Style, Out of Style.
It is called In Style, Out of Style.
In Style.
Thank you so much.
Out of Style.
It is still called In Style, Out of Style. And this is a segment where it's very simple. We will discuss things that I think are in style and things that I think are out of style.
Out of style.
Thank you very much, Kyle. So let's start with what is in style for today. In style, Cooper Flagg declares for the NBA draft. Now, with all the NIL money, and I believe Cooper Flagg's parents had even brought up how much they love Duke. They didn't get it done. They get to the Final Four, but aren't able to get it done. And he follows a long list of players that say they have unfinished business or allude to unfinished business, and then look at the money and decide, I'm going to leave. Now, it is different because those players in the past, like Zion Williamson, truly had no reason to stay because of NIL money. But Cooper Flagg staying versus a mid-round pick or even a second-round pick, it's a little bit different. Even though that NIL money is legit, Cooper Flagg is after the real thing. The dude is a heck of a competitor. He will continue to be a competitor, and I know that the Utah Jazz are salivating at the opportunity to add him to the squad, whether it's the Utah Jazz or the Sacramento Kings. So as of right now, the Sacramento Kings have a 3% chance to keep their pick, and you're saying there's a chance, a 0.75% chance at the number one pick.
That is a 1 in 133 chance.
Which, to be fair, is not that bad.
What do you mean?
I mean, there's crazier things that have happened.
Sure.
When you say numbers like this, I'm thinking 1 in 2,000 or even worse than that. 1 in 33. Hey, man.
I did not say 33.
133.
1 in 33 to just keep the pick, period.
Yes.
Which they have to land in the top 4 to get that.
Yes.
1 in 133 if you want to get Cooper Flagg.
Yes. And we're doing the thing now, his nickname, the main event out of Maine. I've been following Cooper Flagg for a very long time. His high school mixtape was just incredible. And when I found out he was going to Duke, he's going to Duke. But I appreciate it because this will lead into my out of style as well. I do think that everything is better when the big brands are playing well. Obviously, we're in Sacramento. I get all that. I want the Kings to play well. But as a whole, or as a general statement, when the big brands are good, it's good for everybody involved. So I think the question now is, what exactly will Cooper Flagg be? You look at the 3% chance that the Kings have to take the pick. It's gone back and forth. We're coming off a season where we're coming off a draft that was supposed to be awful. I feel like the draft actually, after this season has gone by, you know, you have the finalists, you have Jalen Wells, and you have Stephon Castle, who's probably going to win it. I feel like this draft is probably a bit better than what people thought with Alex Sarr and Rissache. Everyone, I mean, they said this thing was going to be one of the worst drafts in like a decade, right? And I don't think it's going to be that bad, which now scares me for this draft, where it started off, where this draft was supposed to be incredible. Now people are cooling off a bit. Now people are saying, well, it's a little top heavy. You got Cooper Flagg. You got guys like that. I don't think Cooper Flagg falls into the conversation of generational. I don't think he falls into what Zion was supposed to be or guys like that. But obviously, he is above the top pick from last season and seasons like that. So I don't really know what to expect out of Cooper Flagg. I do think a lot of people are looking at him as a franchise saver. I think he could be, but I think he could just be a really good player, which is not a miss at all. But I don't know that Cooper Flagg is a franchise saver. I think he could be, but I wouldn't necessarily put that in Sharpie.
How much of that is the position that he plays, right?
Yeah.
I kind of think obviously he's not Zion, he's not Wemby, he's not like that, but I think that's just because he's not 7 feet tall. I think probably the best comparison at this stage of the game is like Cade Cunningham, because they're both larger size point guards with shooting and ball handling. You're going to have to do some more to build around them, but it's a great foundational piece for whoever lands Cooper Flagg, whether that's Utah or Charlotte or Washington or Portland or, you know, whoever else. I sure hope it's not New Orleans. That would be terrible.
Yeah, I'm looking here. Cooper Flagg is listed at 6'9", by the way. And look, it would be great to get Cooper Flagg. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case. I mean, 0.75, 1 in 133. Yeah. That's it, okay? And Cooper Flagg is definitely going to be I think a good player, right? Kind of that point forward type deal. The question is, will he be quote unquote generational, which honestly is just kind of going to be hard. We never know with these guys. You truly don't.
You know what? If he makes the All-Star team, I think you've got to win there, regardless of who the team is. Like, Darius Garland was the 5th pick in his draft, and I feel like no one's complaining that Darius Garland went too low, right? As long as he just makes an All-Star team or two, he'll be a successful pick.
Yeah, I think it gets to a point where it's he's not going to be good enough that as long as you have him on the team, you can book whatever play, you can book the playoffs, something like that. I think he's going to need help. All right, let's get to what I believe is out of style. And Kyle, I'm going to need you to kill the music on this one because it's going to get serious. So, as a lot of you know, I handle the MC duties. Well, I split the MC duties for the River Cats. And while I was there during this past homestand, I came to an uncomfortable truth. I don't like this at all, but it's the reality of the situation. And as somebody that loves baseball, this is what I believe has to happen. You look at the NFL, and they went from hate watching Tom Brady to hate watching Patrick Mahomes. You look at the NBA, they had some of their best numbers when everybody was hate watching LeBron James on the Heat and hate watching Kevin Durant and the Warriors. Even in college, when Alabama was dominant, when Duke was dominant, that is when the numbers look best. That is when these teams were at their height. Now let's get to baseball. The Yankees. When everybody was hoping to beat the Yankees every single season, that's when baseball was at its height. Everybody was watching baseball. And as much as we love the parity in Major League Baseball, You get the Giants winning one year, the Royals winning another year, the Nationals randomly winning, the Braves randomly winning. The reality is people love big brands and people love to hate watch. And you haven't had to hate watch baseball in a very long time. So as I'm walking around Sutter Health Park, you know what I saw a lot of? Not a ton, but a lot of Los Angeles Dodgers jerseys. And the reality is now, as much as it pains me as a Giants fan, in order to save baseball, the hate watching has to come back in our nation's pastime. The Dodgers need to win the World Series this year. And you know why? Because the more they win, the more people will watch in hopes that they lose. We cannot have a random Phillies win this season. We cannot have the damn Diamondbacks getting back to the World Series. We cannot have a random American League team, even maybe the Yankees, but anybody besides that winning this thing. We need to build the hate. We need to build the hate in order for people to watch and hope that they lose. The Dodgers, as much as it pains me to utter these words, you gotta maybe lose the battle to win the war. And I love baseball more than I hate the Dodgers. I believe the Dodgers need to win the World Series because then next season, when there's more Dodger fans that are bandwagons, when there are more fans that are starting to follow Ohtani and the crew, people that have no feelings about Major League Baseball might turn on the World Series in hopes that the Dodgers lose. They'll start to get sick of that disgusting blue. Because right now, there's just too many people that don't care either way. It pains me as a Giants fan. But as a baseball fan, this is what has to happen. It's out of style, but it is my uncomfortable truth about Major League Baseball. The Dodgers need to win the World Series.
Well, couldn't baseball fans also get invested in the teams and players and get excited about whoever makes the World Series?
They need something to hate. That's how humans work. That's how humans work.
I don't know if it's going to work because, not going to lie, this Dodger team is super likable. The players on this team are super likable.
Well, you know what? They win again, they'll be less likable.
If you hate Freddie Freeman, I feel like you're the problem. If you hate Mookie Betts, I feel like you're the problem.
Enough. They need to win the World Series because there's not enough hate in Major League Baseball. And
really?
And the Dodgers winning will help that hate. I want more complaints about how much Major League covers the Dodgers. I need people to hate to watch the Dodgers take the field. I need people to hate the fact that they'll tell us when Ohtani's coming up 3 innings from when he's actually up. And that only happens if the Dodgers keep winning. I hate to say it, but you cannot, as much as I would love the Dodgers to have an early exit, it hurts baseball in general. And I care more about baseball than I do my hate of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Wiley Gleason joins for the last segment. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Hey, get in. What? Who are you? I'm future you. Constipation with belly pain still coming back? Yeah. Mia, our doctor figured it out. She said it's irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, and Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Spring is in the air, and there's really nothing better than hitting the open road in a new Honda. Whether you're shopping for new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. Plus, get top dollar for your trade. And while life's roads are often filled with bumps, buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Wherever the road you travel might lead, Stockton Honda is happy to get you there. Come in today or go to StocktonHonda.com.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers. T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 line versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Your old HVAC system could be costing you a fortune in energy bills and repair bills. Right now, Sierra Pacific is offering deep discounts, saving homeowners thousands of dollars. Savings that won't be available later this year. But you must act fast. We have to fill openings in our schedule next week. This limited time offer is only available if you book your installation for next week. Don't wait until it's too late. Call Sierra Pacific and lock in your savings today.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air. The guys in the big red trucks.
When I want to stretch out after a long day, my sofa needs to be comfortable, but it also needs to look attractive and inviting when guests come to visit. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. We spend so much time on our living room sofas that we forget they're a focal point and a hint to our decorating tastes. Right now, during Naturewood Home Furnishings sofa sale, you can save on every sofa, including gallery-exclusive custom-ordered flex steel furniture. Whether you're interested in a new sofa, sectional, or recliner, you can choose from hundreds of colors and fabrics. Nobody has more styles and choices than Naturewood Home Furnishings. And when it comes right down to it, it's all about choices and always about quality. Shop Naturewood for the look you love at a price you'll love even more. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable sofa sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
Save $12,750 off MSRP. Every new 2025 Silverado 1500 LT and RST 5.3 in stock at the Maida Chevy Silverado Supercenter. After all rebates. And Maida Chevy still has one of the largest selections in the Sacramento area. $12,750 off new Silverado exclusively at the Maida Chevy Silverado Supercenter. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Frustrating 2011 renewal not available with special financing, lease, and some other offers.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Live and local.
It's Allen Stiles
on Sacktown Sports.
Whitey Gleason joins us. Whitey, what did you think about my in-style, out-of-style Dodgers take?
I didn't quite understand it.
What do you mean?
I
It's
think
hate
it would
watching.
be great if someone other than the Dodgers won the
No,
World Series
but that's
this
what
year.
it's been. It's always different. And nobody watches, and nobody cares.
Are you making the point that in the last 10 years,
Yeah.
only the Astros have won multiple championships?
Yeah, you got who cares? Why are the Braves winning? Why are we doing this?
Hmm.
And then they go away. Then if you're gonna win, then at least continue to win.
They've been in the playoffs the last 3 years.
They're just up. The Major League Baseball is a bunch of one-hit wonders. It's because of the stupid 5-game series, whatever they have.
So you're saying we need dynasties?
Yes.
Yeah, you're not going to have that with all the rounds of the playoffs. It's just mathematically too difficult.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Did you see this, Whitey? The NBA is set to conduct those coin flips. I don't know how, it doesn't matter for the Kings now.
They're not actually coin flips, but they amount to coin
Yes, the NBA is set to conduct coin flips to determine the tiebreakers for draft picks today. Results will be announced, quote unquote, later. And then somebody responds to Brett Siegel, why later? Results need to be verified and certified by the law firm. So I'm not sure when we will find out. But today, if the Mavericks had taken care of business the way Nico Harrison talks about them, we would have been paying attention.
Right.
Kind of.
Yes.
Based on when.
Sure, we would have. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But now it doesn't matter?
No, because we have a 3% chance either way of keeping the pick and 0.75 chance of.
I think your odds improve like 0.4% if you win, but it's basically nothing.
So the Kings are still a part of it.
Of the lottery?
Of the coin flip.
Yeah. But it's just to determine who's 13 or 14, right? They split the ping pong balls, but it's like because you're one spot ahead of the other team, in theory, like if 12, 11, 10, or something weird happens, you would go up. It's not important.
13 or 14, you lose it if you're the Kings, so what does it matter?
I had a bone to pick with you, and Amid Rock on the side chat is saying, was it Red Shirt Day here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess so. Great minds.
Yes.
I'll never forget. It was on Disney Channel, and it was I don't know, some educational promo, and it was the genie from Aladdin, and he would say, during a commercial, great minds think alike, and then he would say, no, great minds think differently. And that was to get you to think outside the box on stuff. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't see
I don't
that.
think you probably caught that, but your family probably caught that.
I just want to say I don't want there to be any confusion. I don't know how you stand, but as far as the red, I don't want anyone to think I'm pulling for the Rockets. I know around here you're not supposed to root for the Warriors. I can't stand the Houston Rockets.
Well, I don't think it's a big deal because the Rockets are terrible offensively.
All of them, Udoka has that scowl.
Yeah.
Dylan Brooks has that scowl.
Mm-hmm.
And even Van Bricklayer has that scowl.
Yeah.
We're tough. Shut up and make a shot.
If Van Vliet shot like that in 2019, Steph would already have 5 rings.
I follow you on Twitter, so I feel like I've heard that before.
Okay. All right. Well, what I was going to say was I have a bone to pick with you.
Okay, yeah.
As we did
we started talking about Aladdin, so
well,
I got
yeah.
a little lost.
Look, my millennials out there, somebody got it. And that's all that. If one person gets it, that's how it works in radio.
Yeah.
If one person gets it, that's enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the opposite of how it works. Whitey, DeMar DeRozan, we gave out our grades today. We started with Zack Lavine, DeMar DeRozan, and Keon Ellis. And we've had conversations about DeMar DeRozan and how you essentially kind of felt like it was a bit of a letdown. And I wanted to give you the opportunity.
No, kind of, essentially. I mean, I did feel that way.
Okay, and I want to ask you the question to clarify your statements. DeMar DeRozan as a player, or just the situation as far as the fit was a letdown?
Well, yeah, the latter, but you can't separate it from the former. Since he came here, and whether it was his fault or not, a guy of that pedigree, I think it's fair to expect him to lift the team. And it didn't happen, so that's disappointing. And there was also issues with the fit at times, and he was very poor defensively.
I think he did lift the team, though.
Really?
I mean,
you go to the overtime win against Dallas. I know, but still, he was supposed to be the missing piece. That's what we all assumed. That's probably what he assumed when he came here, and he wasn't. And so that's disappointing. Maybe that's not fair, but that's the way it was.
He came in and he was who he has been on the Bulls, on the Spurs. He was exactly the same guy on a team that was supposed to be better than the Bulls. So, in my opinion, he did his job. Early on, we had those injuries that nobody really talks about, but that 7-game stretch when DeMar and Malik and Sabonis were out, that derailed things. Then you have the trade, obviously, that happened. So, in my opinion, you needed either De'Aaron Fox, and I don't know about Domantas Sabonis, but De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, Keegan Murray, those guys needed to play better. It just feels like DeMar DeRozan was who he was. He did his job. Other players did not do their job. He was better than Harrison Barnes was, maybe not defensively, but offensively, you're bringing him in at 35 years old. He scored when he needed to score. Sometimes De'Aaron felt like playing basketball. Sometimes he didn't. Then you make that trade. Besides that beginning stuff with DeMar's back, I mean, he played 77 games.
Sure.
I don't really know what more you could have asked for from DeMar.
I was hoping that he would have a more positive effect on the team and that the team would be better than they were as a result of him being on it. I understand you look at him in a vacuum, it's like, well, that's what he is, and he did that well. How can you quibble with that? It was just overall, it was disappointing the whole season. And I thought that some of the disappointment we had and some of the issues with fit, I was hoping that they wouldn't be issues.
If DeMar is here's the thing, though. Everybody was disappointed.
I'm not the guy that shoved the phone in his face if you're accusing me of doing that.
Well, I think you might have known the guy.
No,
I think you might have known the guy.
I had nothing to do with
I think you
that.
were also at the sushi restaurant. I think I might have saw you in the corner. If you're saying he is disappointing, then you'd have to say essentially everyone was disappointing. Besides, we gave Keon Ellis an A, but I don't know that anyone else is getting an A this season.
No, I don't even know if I'd give Keon an A, and I love Keon.
Yeah,
but I'm with you.
Okay, no, that's fine. As long as that's where we're rocking and rolling. What's on the show today?
We found, I don't know if you guys have seen this. We found a video of Scott Perry about 2 weeks ago, 12 days ago, talking about building a team and a foundation, things like that. So we're going to go over that and see how that might apply to what he will be trying to do here in Sacramento.
Great stuff. And I know
you haven't even heard it yet.
Well, I know it's going to be because you're doing it. You're doing it. I think I haven't gotten complete confirmation, but it sounds like the press conference is tomorrow. I think that might get confirmed during your show, hopefully.
This is almost getting Carlos Correa-y.
That's true. And you know what? It still just says, I mean, even the final, they are fine. They've been finalizing for a while now.
Yes, that's
what are we finalizing?
Good point. Good question.
What are we finalizing? Whitey Gleason has what they're finalizing on the other side. Drive Guys coming up next. Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper, Jay Johnson. Thanks to all the callers, texters, Sack chatters. And until tomorrow, let's get the bag. Like the bean.
Gotta go.
Breaking: the Sacramento Kings and Scott Perry have finalized a deal for him to become the next GM of the Kings.